I don't know. That's the thing. It doesn't say. I didn't read whether there's.
I don't think so. I think it was the state. I think it was the state that was going after her, not necessarily. Although I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow.
What, did she get a fine? You know
I honest to God don't know. We'll find out tomorrow at 3:30.
She gets a fine, and then she is open up to a civil lawsuit.
Yeah,
because the state fines her for discrimination.
Yeah, that's what'll happen now. The girls will sue her civilly.
Yeah,
that's what I'm guessing.
Can say, okay, we can fine you for discrimination, and then they can come in and say, hey, you discriminated on us. Now we're going to sue you.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's so sad. After all the crap that she's gone through, for what, like 8 years, 10 years?
8. Oh, it hasn't been 10 yet. 8.
8.
17 is minor.
Yeah.
Yeah, 17 is when it started. So 8 years.
Feel bad for her, but it is what it is. Got to check your personal shit at the door. Why can't I bring down my collar on any of my turtlenecks? Anybody explain that? Can you guys explain that? I can't keep the collar down on my turtlenecks. It's really annoying. I could have danced all night. Ba, 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 ba.
Bailey. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com. Chris Burdick is producing the broadcast on this 8th day of December. Another chilly afternoon as we fastly approach Christmas. What do we got? 17 days before Santa comes and visits. Got a busy broadcast. Dr. Jeet Singh is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about urine. Ooh. Yeah, I've been reading all this nonsense and seeing it because I don't think there's any question our phones are listening to us because this thing's been popping up ever since I was discussing it with somebody. This issue of bubbles. I think I'm specifically talking to men, bubbles in your urine. If you look down in the toilet, there is a foam of bubbles. Do you have that? Or do you know?
I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't noticed if I have, but
well, take a look next time you go to the bathroom. Apparently, it is not a very good sign. We're going to ask Dr. Jeet Singh about that. And I found another alleged blood pressure cure. We're going to pass that along, see what he thinks. Cathy Abernathy will be here at 4 o'clock as per usual. We will talk about, among other things, Marjorie Taylor Greene's appearance on 60 Minutes last night. You will hear from the soon-to-be former Congresswoman. And speaking of former Congresswoman, Jasmine Crockett has announced that she is running for the state the U.S. Senate seat in the state of Texas. We'll get into that. And we'll talk about Pearl Harbor. It was yesterday, Pearl Harbor Day. It's been 84 years since the beginning of World War II for the United States when Franklin Roosevelt went to the U.S. House of Representatives. That's why on Honor Flight, when we go, and used to be Mr. McCarthy, now it's Vince Fong and David Valadeo, who bring us into the house. And that's why I'm in such awe. And that's why I run to that podium every time we go in there. We've done it I think I've done it about 3 times. And one of the first things I do when we walk into the room before everybody gets organized is I go to the podium and just kind of stand there in awe, saying to myself, this is where Franklin Roosevelt declared World War II. And we'll hear some of that audio. I think we have the CD that has the December 7th thing on We Interrupt This Broadcast. I'm not sure, but I also sent you some audio, did I not?
You did.
On I think it's just his speech.
I for sure have that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have the Pearl Harbor thing. How we lost the discs on that thing, I just don't understand. I really don't. But we did, and that's the way it is. And we have unveiled the great mystery of Tara Reid. Did you look at that? I sent you that audio?
You sent me that, and
did you look at it?
I didn't keep. Well, I do have the full package. If you wanted to play that, I didn't know if I wanted it, but I did cut out the guy's comments from within that package. So
I don't know. I kind of like the whole package, but the bottom line is Tara Reid was gulping glasses of wine. She had 5 glasses of. You know what I'm talking about? Tara Reid alleged that she was in a Miami hotel, came into the bar, checked in, went to her room, then came downstairs, had a glass of wine, according to the former star, and went out to smoke. And she claimed that her drink had been drugged because at the end of the day, the end of the afternoon, she was literally, I don't know how to put it, comatose. She was out like she was
hammered. The easiest way to put it, she was just so.
Well, but that's not her story. Her story was she was drugged, and I mean They had to get a wheelchair. They had to take her to a hospital. They put her in on a stretcher to get her out of the hotel. That's how bad she was. I mean, there's drunk, and then there's comatose. She was comatose, and we started to get suspicious when TMZ interviewed her, and she claimed, they asked her, as you would guess, Harvey Levin and the other guy would ask, well, what kind of drug was it? I don't know. The hospital didn't tell you? They didn't examine your blood and tell you what kind of drug it was? They just said you've been drugged and let you leave? Yeah. And then at that point, she hadn't filed a police report. Then she later filed a police report. And the gentleman that Chris is alluding to in the package, it's a package that I stole from Miami, she accused him of drugging her cocktail. But again, as we all know, and as Lisa was just reminding me that I say all the time, you're on camera as soon as you pull your key out of the door. And if you don't think you're on camera in a hotel bar, and that's how we know that she gulped, not drank, not sipped, gulped 5 glasses of wine. Like at least 2, we see her chugging wine. Like, who does that? Who drinks wine? You know what I mean? I'll have another. Who does that? No wonder you're off your pins. You going crazy? And we'll talk a little football. It was an unbelievable weekend to do absolutely nothing but watch television. The college championships were outstanding, and I am totally rooting for Indiana University. And, of course, the Catholics are livid. The James Madison is in the playoffs. Tulane is in the playoffs. A lot of teams that just won their division are in this expanded playoff in college, which I told you a year ago was going to be a mistake. It is just too many teams, and there are too many teams that just don't deserve to be in the playoffs. And what's going to happen is the James Madisons of the world, the Tulanes of the world are going to get run, and they're gonna limit. Well, no, I'm lying. No, they're not. No, they're not. And why won't they limit the playoffs, Mr. Burdick?
I'm sorry, I was talking to JR. We were talking about what now?
I was saying that James Madison, all these illegitimate teams got in, and that they're going to get run out of the playoffs, and that they're going to shrink the playoffs because these guys can't compete. And I said, no, they're not.
No, they're going to expand it to
Why?
16.
Why?
Well, more opportunities.
Money. Listen to Ralph Bailey Sr. 8 questions out of 10 can be answered with the word money.
Oh, no,
they're not going to limit this. It's just going to be. And you know what? It doesn't matter. In terms of getting in and Notre Dame's beef, it's always going to be that way. If there are 8 teams, 9 and 10 is going to complain. If there's 16 teams, 17 and 18 are going to complain. That's not my point. My point is, what is the point? What is the reason for the seedings? Because Notre Dame was ranked higher than Miami, but Miami beat Notre Dame head-to-head. Now, granted, it was, I believe, the first game of the season.
It was.
And you're a totally different team in the middle of the season, at the end of the season, than you are from the first game. But it is what it is. We'll follow that up. And there were some great games. Bears, Packers, Kansas City, Texas. Bye, Patrick. Bye. Bye, Travis. Go get married, Travis. By the way, just a side comment. Travis and Taylor have made a date. You see that? June, I think. June, middle of June.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Never going to happen. Heard it here first.
I'm not going to go that far, but I was going to say
7 months. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. It's not going to happen. She's going to call it off. There's already rumors, and I don't know if I buy this because it doesn't sound like Travis Kelce, but they're already having problems with the prenup. But I don't buy that. I don't buy that. And that's not why I predict that they're not going to make it. They're just not going to make it. And Travis Kelce, God, did he play so badly last night. Good Google movement. We'll get into that. And, of course, the talk of sports, really, and I can't believe I turned it. I watched the first half hour of Colin Cowherd this morning, and he didn't even talk about it. That Kevin Stefanski should be run out of the National Football League. And I don't have time because I'm running really late to explain why. But Shedeur Sanders had one of the best rookie games we've seen in years. In years. Who is the quarterback who you would vote for the MVP right now, Chris Burdick?
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. And do you know how many 300-plus games Chris's MVP has this season? 2. He just said that Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in football. And he's got 2 300-yard games.
Got multiple 4-touchdown games.
Mr. Sanders has 1, and he's played in 2 games. And he plays for the Cleveland Browns. Just saying. I would have, if I were, who's the Cleveland owner? Jimmy Haslam. What is his name?
I believe it's the Hunt family.
No, that's Kansas City. Haslam. I think it's Haslam. I would have gone down in the locker room and fired Stefanski right in the middle of the locker room, in front of all the players. Pack your stuff and get out.
You're absolutely right. D and Jimmy Haslam.
Yeah, I'll explain why he needs to be fired a little bit later in the program. And Jeff Kent, former Dodger, gets into the Hall of Fame. I'll explain how and why and who didn't a little bit later in the program. And we've got some court stuff to get to. The Christmas parade drunk was in court today. We'll talk about that. And the Maya Hernandez trial got underway. All that's coming up on a busy Monday afternoon on the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180, KRN, and we're streaming live at currentradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk water with the best in the business. That'd be Lois Henry from sjpwater.org. Cell phone detox camps for kids. We will talk about that. We will have news. We will have traffic. We'll have weather. 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the World Wide Webs at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries here in Kern County. If you are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today at 661-554-4544. Let us help you understand your healthcare options for 2025. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Are the rising waters of expenses and debt threatening to drown you? Many people try to stay afloat by borrowing more money or using debt settlement programs, but those can take years. If you're trapped under credit card debt, medical bills, payday loans, or buy now, pay later plans, Chapter 7 bankruptcy could free you much sooner, in about 4 months and for a fraction of the cost. Stop the harassing calls and letters, rebuild your credit quickly, and clear the way for a fresh start. At Clean Slate BK Group, consumer Chapter 7 bankruptcies are all we do. We can help you erase credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, even past due utility bills. Find out if you qualify at no cost and with no obligation. Go to csbk.com. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 7 Penn Plaza, Suite 601, New York, 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit csbk.com. That's csbk.com. Your clean slate starts here.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show.
Morning, when Cathy Miller contacted me and gave me the bad news, at least for her, that the Supreme Court is not going to hear her case. They have fought this thing now for 8 years. It began, for people that are maybe new to our community or haven't been following this, a gay female couple came in to get a cake, and Cathy refused to do so based on her religious beliefs. And they filed a suit with the state. The state has gone after Cathy. This has gone on for 8 years. She won here locally. That victory was overturned. She appealed to the California Supreme Court. They denied seeing it, as has the United States Supreme Court. And I thought we were going to have Cathy because, as I think regular listeners know, we've been following this for a long time, and I've created a pretty good friendship with Cathy. That's why she called me this morning and texted me this morning and let me know what was going on. And she initially agreed to come on the program tomorrow, but I guess her attorneys contacted her and said no. But they have both the law firm that was doing pro bono work for her, the Beckett Fund for Religious Liberty, and Cathy have given a statement. And it reads, this is Cathy's statement. I'm disappointed the court chose not to take my case, but my trust remains in Jesus Christ. For over a decade, I've welcomed everyone who comes into Tastries with the care and honesty my faith calls me to, and I'll continue to do exactly that. This isn't the result I prayed for, but I am sure God will use this for his glory. I will continue to work to use my creative skills to bless others and reflect my faith in Jesus. And then Adele Keim, who we have interviewed on the program, senior counsel at Beckett Fund for Religious Liberty, wrote, Cathy has shown remarkable courage over the last 8 years. We're disappointed the court declined to hear Cathy's case, and we are evaluating Cathy's options for continuing to run Tastries in a way that reflects her faith. That's from Ryan Colby, the director of communications. So it wasn't from Adele Keim, it was from Ryan Colby, the communications director. But despite my opinion, which I've made clear over the last 8 years, which Cathy is well aware of, I thought she was wrong. I don't think, and I was reading, KGT posted it on Facebook, and so I went through and read a lot of the comments, and the overwhelming majority of this community is in Cathy's corner because she's a wonderful human being. She really is. She's just a beautiful woman. I mean that inside. And she's also very attractive, but I meant that as character-wise. And a very devout religious woman. I simply believe that when you go into business, you have to check all your personal beliefs at the door. You can't bring your personal beliefs into business. I just don't think that. And I don't mean to get religious, but I don't see the wrath of God for someone being involved in a gay marriage. Now, we can argue whether or not homosexuals will have to face the Lord at some point. We can argue that. We can argue the existence of God for that sake, for that matter. But I just think that in this situation, you can't discriminate against anyone. One of the constant comments that I read is, oh, you ought to be able to serve anybody or deny anybody. Now, come on. That just makes no sense. That you can just turn anyone away because you feel like it. And everybody was quoting no shirts, no shoes, no service. Well, that's because that's not discriminatory. That's across the line. And that's just the standards within the bakery. But it doesn't say no Tastries, no shirt, no shoes, no homosexuals. And I think it's tantamount to saying, and I know Cathy doesn't mean it in this manner. I know she feels that it's more her participation than it is discrimination. But I find it hard to believe, if I do believe in a God, and I do, that a God that I worship would punish anyone for participating in a gay marriage. I thought Christianity was all about love. That's how I was raised. The Christianity was all about loving your brother. But having said all that, I truly was hurt and felt bad that Cathy has lost this fight. They have been diligent about this for 8 years. She's gone through hell, no pun intended, where when this thing originally broke 8 years ago, she had employees that were quitting because they were pounding the pavement outside of Tastries Bakery. They were threatening the employees. They were threatening Cathy. They were threatening the store. And, they had a dip in customers for a little bit, but she's obviously brought that back because the community rallied to her aid and supported her. A lot of people just go get cookies just to support Cathy. They didn't need cookies, they didn't want cookies, but they were going to spend money with Cathy just to support her. That's how much she's beloved in this community. But I think that the courts are right. I didn't think they'd rule against her, however, given the Denver case, which was incredibly similar, I thought, and the idea that it is her artwork and that she should be able to dispense that any way she pleases. I thought that's the way the court was going to go, but they obviously disagreed with me and with Cathy and the Beckett group. And obviously, we're going to talk about this in greater detail and in much more specificity and with somebody with some knowledge tomorrow when Teresa Golder returns in studio. But I feel like I lost. I really do. I really do, because I adore Cathy and her husband. They're just a really cool couple and very sincere, very genuine. And I don't think she hates anyone. I know she doesn't hate anyone. I don't think she has any animosity toward the two women that came into her restaurant or into her bakery, even though they've created a living hell for her over the last almost decade. But it is what it is. And I don't understand why the attorneys won't let her speak, because as far as I see, this thing is over. There's no appealing the highest court in the land. And perhaps they are gearing up for a potential civil suit. I'm not sure. Again, we'll talk with somebody who knows a little bit about the law tomorrow at 3:30. When again, Teresa Golder, who has returned from her Brooklyn Heights apartment in New York City, she'll be live in studio with us tomorrow. In the meantime, we're off to Centric Health. Fellas, if you are urinating, which I assume you are, and you see bubbles and foam of some sort in the toilet, it could be a sign of something. We're going to find out. We're going to ask that of Dr. Jeet Singh when we come back. And then Cathy Abernathy will join us at the top of the hour. It's TRBS on a Monday. I'd stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SLN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump is planning a $12 billion aid package for U.S. farmers who have struggled to sell their crops while getting hit by rising costs. The move comes after the president raised tariffs on China as part of a broader trade war. The Supreme Court on Monday seemed likely to expand presidential control over independent federal agencies, signaling support for President Trump's firing of board members. The court's conservative majority suggested it would overturn a unanimous 90-year-old decision that has limited when presidents can fire agencies' board members. On Wall Street, a rough day as the Dow was down by 215 points, the NASDAQ dropping 32, the S&P 500 lower by 23. This is SRN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Two people are missing in separate cases, but police would like your help, asking you to be on the lookout first for 15-year-old Albert Hoguin. He's been missing since Friday morning in the Old River Road area. He's 5'6", 135 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. Dino Roy Valoria was last seen Saturday night about 10:30. He is 5'7", 140 pounds with brown and black hair and brown eyes. Kern County deputies are asking for a call if you see him. The 36th annual Fog Run, a 5 and 10K, is happening January 10th at Lake Ming. The $44 registration, good until the end of the month, supports Helping Hands, in turn helping at-risk kids with scholarships and mentoring. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Look, folks, when it comes to IT support, not all companies are the same. Many make big promises, but very few have the depth of talent, advanced systems, and proven solutions that Grapevine MSP brings to the table. At Grapevine MSP, they don't just fix problems, they prevent them. Their fully managed IT services keep your systems running smoothly and securely 24/7. So when something happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to be stuck trying to reach your provider. Grapevine MSP's local team is already on it with advanced network monitoring. They generally catch the issue before you even notice, and they're calling you to say that it's already been handled. Their dedicated cybersecurity team protects you daily from evolving threats, while their industry-leading backup and disaster recovery keep your business online even in a crisis. All this for one simple, transparent monthly rate. Call 661-377-2992 or visit grapevinemsp.com to schedule your free network evaluation today. Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Tuesday edition, Clay and Brock will break down all the latest Supreme Court underway with a bunch of different significant hearings, plus the continued fallout associated with Venezuela and more. All that coming your way. Plus, our good friend Uncle Bill O'Reilly will be with us to break down everything coming up at the end of the year and help us get started for what's to come next. You won't want to miss it. Tuesday edition, Clay and Brock.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Charlie Kirk Show. Weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now.
I think I'm responsible for this, Chris. I really do. I really do. Not the number of people walked around this complex before I started walking. Look at me trying to give myself credit for people walking around our complex. But the point I was going to make is these ladies are walking today, right now. I just saw one walk by. She had a shawl and a jacket and everything. And I'm like, wow, I can't do it. I've been walking the studios, but I can't. I'm not, no. 50-degree weather? No. I'm an LA boy. Dr. Jeet Singh is unavailable till 3:45. We'll talk to him coming up after the break. But guess who is addressing and making her official announcement that she's running for the Texas Senate seat being held currently by incumbent John Cronin? It's that gal, Jasmine Crockett. Let's eavesdrop a little bit.
Not just some folk. There are folks who feel like their vote doesn't matter and that nothing will change or that candidates don't speak to them. And honestly, I can't blame them. But I'm here to address those Texans specifically who feel as their vote doesn't matter. Let me tell you it does. Earlier, I talked about my first race for state representative, and I talked about the fact that I was outspent 5-1. They had the money, but I had the people. When the first batch of votes came out, I was down by 700 votes. I told my team it was over. Carmen, who's right up front, rushes down and says, "No, we about to go to elections." I said, "Y'all, it's over. We've been voting for 3 weeks and we down by 700. We ain't coming back."
See how she slips in the ghetto every now and again?
Somehow somebody said, "Rep, you only down." Well, I wasn't rep then.
God, I wish you guys could have heard this.
I said, "Oh, we getting good. We getting good."
Yeah, that's enough, Chris. I can't listen to her. I just can't. You should have heard her about 2 or 3 minutes ago when I was in there with Chris listening, and she had her white voice on. And then when she gets cooking, she starts to get a little ghetto. She is announcing on the very day that former Representative Colin Alwood, another African American who was making his second straight bid for the Senate in a right-leaning Texas, Monday morning ended his campaign and instead launched a congressional campaign as he seeks to return to the House, which will be interesting now that the Supreme Court has okayed Governor Abbott's redistricting. It was shot down by a lower court and then went to SCOTUS, and they said, no, go right ahead. Democratic State Representative James Tallarico, a former middle school teacher and Presbyterian seminarian, who's also seen as a rising Democratic Party star, remains in the Senate primary. So she's got to get by Tallarico, and I'm not sure she's going to even do that. We'll see. And then she's got to take on either John Cornyn, the incumbent, and he's being challenged by Attorney General Ken Paxton, who has a very good shot of beating Cornyn, and Representative Wesley Hunt, who is an African-American Republican, is also in that primary, and he would be either one of those guys, either in one of those three. If Cornyn holds on to his seat in the primary, he'd beat Crockett. I think AG Ken Paxton, although he's got a little baggage, he's got some estranged wife issues and some allegations, etc. But I still think he beats Crockett. I think Chris Burdick beats Crockett. And Wesley Hunt, if you haven't seen or known about Wesley Hunt, you should Google him. He's a really bright military man who got into Congress and is just a really smart, common sense, no nonsense military cat who would make a wonderful senator out of the state of Texas. And a lot of folks don't think Cornyn is going to win that primary. A lot of people think Paxton is going to win that, but it's going to get ugly because, like I said, Paxton has some baggage, and it's hard as an incumbent to take on two people in a primary. Normally, as the incumbent, nobody challenges you. Nobody in your party is going to try to primary you. That's something that Trump does. But in this case, these two are going to siphon off a lot of votes, and it's going to be a close race for that primary. But the good news is, like I said, I think Paxton or Hunt or the incumbent John Cornyn beats Jasmine Crockett. And if she gets out of the primary. Because all the ads, what's the first ad they're going to run, Chris Burt?
Why did this person vote for, you've been saying it for a while now, and I know exactly what you're getting at, but
nope.
Not that one?
Nope. And Ken, what's his name? Oh. Lee, what's his name? Mitt Romney, George Bush, they all took money from a Jeffrey Epstein. That's the first ad. Her on the floor, Lee Zeldin, her on the floor of the House of Representatives, implying that Lee Zeldin, Mitt Romney, the Republican National Congressional Committee, George Bush, did I mention George Bush? She just named like 5 or 6 people that all took money from a Jeffrey Epstein, and it turned out to be a doctor on Long Island from Manhasset. And then the second ad will be her trying to explain, well, I wasn't trying to imply. What are you talking about? You weren't trying to imply that they took money from the Jeffrey Epstein? You just threw that out there in an excuse. Well, we had 20 minutes to read the bill, and I had my team Google it, because that's how we do research in my office. We Google things. This woman is a clown. I know black folks are screaming at the radio, Ralph, you sell out. You're going to bag on a black woman. Yes. I'm sorry. She's incompetent. She's ridiculous. How do you defend a woman getting a bill 20 minutes or a resolution 20 minutes before she's about to go on the floor? She tells her team to Google it. It comes up that a Jeffrey Epstein gave money to Lee Zeldin and all these people, and they don't do the research to find out whether it's the Jeffrey Epstein or it's an oncologist in Long Island? Really? That's how thorough you are? That's how reckless you are? That you're willing to just throw it out there without any true attribution or a Google as your attribution? That's your research engine, Google, and you're a member of Congress, and you have a staff? No, she's a joke. There's no defending that. There's absolutely no defending that. I don't care if she's my mama. There's no defending that. And then trying to come back and claim that she wasn't intending to do exactly what she did, and that is wink, wink, imply that these people were all. Why did you bring it up if you weren't trying to tie them to the Jeffrey Epstein? Why bring it up? Why go on the House floor? Do we have that? Can you find that by any chance? That of her on the floor? I know that's a tall task because it was probably about a month or 2 months ago, but if you could find that before we go to break, that'd be great. But I get if you can't. But this is, it's going to be a fun campaign. That's for sure. I mean, the statements that she's made and the statement about Stacey Plaskey, where she absolutely lied because the Republicans want her off the Intelligence Committee, Plaskey, and she went on CNN and claimed that they wanted to take her off the committee because she was taking money from Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that'd be a reason, but that's not the reason. That's an absolute lie. As most of you have seen, the reason they wanted her off the committee is because when they were grilling Michael Cohen, she was taking notes from Jeffrey Epstein. He was instructing her how to question Michael Cohen. Little bit inappropriate. Meantime, here is the new candidate for Texas U.S. Senate.
Thank you so much. This is a distraction to take away from the fact that the Guardians of Pedophiles is literally trying to protect pedophiles. The president is a convicted felon and an accused sex offender. Stacey Plaskett hasn't been accused of either. So what are we actually here talking about? Trump and Epstein were besties. We've all seen the pictures of them. We saw the birthday book. So why are y'all more interested in talking about Stacey Plaskett than Trump's relationship with the man? When did y'all become so moral? Because I can remember when y'all wouldn't sign the discharge petition. All of a sudden, everybody wanted to vote for this, but you wouldn't sign the discharge petition. Until we decide that we are going to go after the actual rapists and pedophiles, miss me with your moral high ground. Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous. You decide that you want to punish a sitting member of Congress because you are concerned about her text messages. Well, maybe you should be more concerned about those sex tapes that we still haven't gotten access to. Maybe you should be more concerned with the fact that the president, his name is mentioned in the files way more than Stacey Plaskett's name. Listen, I'm not saying that anything is right or wrong, but listen, if you're trying to figure out what's going on with somebody that's a criminal, then you maybe need to talk to their associates. That's exactly why maybe she was getting text messages. I'm not saying she was or wasn't. But considering the fact that they were talking to another associate of the president's and maybe she needed intel, you'd have to go talk to somebody that maybe knows what he's up to.
Time has expired. Yeah, thank you. I was about to say, yeah, time has expired on this show as well. Good googly boogly. Guardians of Pedophiles. And did you see how she alluded to the text messages that Stacey Plaskett was getting? That's not what she said on CNN. Remember, we played that for you last week. We can play it for you a little bit later on the program, where she went on CNN and insisted that they wanted to take Plaskett off the committee because she was taking money from Epstein. No, it's because of the text messages that we watched her receive because they timed it up. They timed up from the time that Epstein sent the text message to the time when she received the text message and the time when she was grilling Michael Cohen, and they all match up. So in the middle of an intelligence hearing, grilling that no good Michael Cohen, she's sitting there taking notes from Jeffrey Epstein, and the Democrats don't think that's inappropriate. And again, this is after the fact when we knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. And yet she insists that she wasn't trying to imply that Zeldin and these guys were taking money from the Jeffrey Epstein, then why the blowhard speech, Jasmine? This will be the key to this election, illustrating what a cartoon character this woman is. Quick timeout. Now we're off to Centric Health. We hope that Dr. Singh is available. We'll talk with him next. And then Cathy Abernathy at the top of the hour. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 90
Messmaker.
KERN.
Wow, I guess we're talking about this openly now. The Trump administration with a big document out that says, hey, Europe, you're allowing immigration to erase who you are. You ought to stop. President Zelensky meeting with a lot of European leaders to discuss the peace plan. I'm using my finger quotes for peace plan with Russia, and we'll check in and see how that went and all the other news of the day on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
If you feel like there's been something missing from the Ralph Bailey Show lately, you are absolutely right. You know, it's been 3 weeks since we've talked with Daniel Petrie, and we're excited that he's coming back to the program. 1 week was Thanksgiving, 1 week I was sick, and 1 week Daniel wasn't available. But he'll be with us on Thursday via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network, and we will talk about, as the days are growing short in the year 2025, whether or not Jerome Powell is going to drop interest rates before the end of the month. We'll talk about that. And of course, Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about retirement. Call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in Thursday at 4:30. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
And we're back. Another commercial for California Fruit Depot.
Cal Fruit Depot.
First, it needs to be said that a lot of listeners are complaining that you're not pulling your own weight on these commercials.
Wait, this is a 1 minute podcast. I'll lead with that. Now back to you.
If you're wearing a jacket and you're hearing this commercial, come on out to California Fruit Depot. Come on out and see us.
Not Christmas.
Oranges.
It's a jacket special.
Dates, shakes, smoothies, all those things. They're available.
What
Come
else
on,
do
you
you
can
have out
ship them to family and friends all over the country.
Shipping available.
Another thing I like to talk about is getting a jingle.
Yes, please.
We need a jingle.
We do need it.
All musicians, bands. Hey, if you got AI capabilities, send us an AI commercial.
Submit it.
For California Fruit Depot. Has to be radio friendly.
Ooh, California Fruit Depot.
Got your citrus. Got your nuts.
Come get some dates. Come get your dates.
Send your jingle to citrusjinglecontest@gmail.com and come out to California Fruit Depot. Google us for directions, or you can visit us online at calfruitdepot.com.
Hey, I made the commercial.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase. I just paid hundreds for this flight and you can't even throw an internet? I'll just take the free pretzels. Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale. I'm just gonna sleep. In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well. I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers, not available in all states.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The holidays were tricky for the Colonel. He loved people, but he also loved peace and quiet. So he cooked up KFC's $4.99 chicken pot pie. Warm, flaky, with savory sauce and vegetables. It's a tender chicken-filled excuse to get some time to yourself and step away from decking the halls, whatever that means. The Colonel lived so we could chicken. KFC's chicken pot pie. The best $4.99 you'll spend this season.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you.
It's a Monday, so we're off to Centric Health to talk with the finest cardiologist in the land, Dr. Jeet Singh. How are you, Dr. J?
I'm good. How are you, Ralph?
I'm outstanding. Outstanding. Looking forward to the holidays. Christmas.
Christmas, I'll spend time with family.
Yeah.
So
Obviously, that's the plan.
Are you headed across the pond, or are you get the family's descending here on Bakersfield?
They are coming here.
Oh, that's good.
It's good. This is my favorite month of the year.
Yeah, yeah.
So much lighting, so much people are in high spirit. It's festive. So I love this part of the month.
I do too.
It's amazing.
People are nicer to one another. People are happier.
Yeah.
It really is a really nice time of the year. I probably should have given you a heads up on the topic because it's a little bit strange, but I've been seeing it everywhere on the internet. And it is this idea that when you urinate, I'm assuming this is just men, and there is foam or bubbles in the toilet, that is an issue. Is that accurate? What is the issue? And how does one overcome this if it is an issue?
So, this question is quite frequently asked to me about this foam kind of a thing coming up. But it could be a normal, but also looking at that there could be underlying medical issues. For example, patients can have temporary foaming if you have fast urination, like a strong stream. So what happens is it can trap air and form foam. Or if you are dehydrated, the urine can become concentrated. That can also lead to it. I think there are other causes. For example, if you have prostate issues, for example, if there is a lot of residual urine, when that is released, it can cause foam formation. But the important thing to be noted is first to get a urine analysis to see if there is protein in the urine. Because protein in the urine could be related to underlying issues like diabetes, high blood pressure, or infection. And this foam tends to be thick, and sometimes it has a odor in it. So to keep that in mind. So usually I don't see patients complaining, but when I have tested them in females, I have seen them to have a subclinical urinary tract infection.
Wow. So everyone does not have, because I noticed when I saw this, I'd never paid attention to it really. And then I saw this on the internet and I paid attention, and lo and behold, I do have bubbles in my toilet after I urinate. Is that a sign of my high blood pressure or perhaps a prostate issue?
Yes. So in your case, you remember, even though your prostate levels came down,
right,
but they were slightly elevated.
2.5. It went down from a 3.7 to a 2.5.
So if there is some inflammation or there is prostatitis, you can still get foam in the urine. So it all depends upon what kind of underlying issues patient has, and then you use your clinical judgment and give the right advice to the patient.
Is it something that I should be concerned with? Should I go see
Not
you
really.
or Hemel and give a sample of urine? Or
It's never a bad idea. I tell all the time, and I've questioned this to my patients in routine. At least once a year, get your urine examination. At least once a year. In your case, because you have had elevated PSA, it doesn't hurt doing it every 6 months.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. That's good to know. And everyone should do this if they notice this?
Everyone should have one, even if you are absolutely normal, no issues, get once a year your blood test and get your urine analysis.
This doesn't show up in a blood test then. You have to have the urine examined.
No, my friend. That's why you do the urine, because that way you come to know if you have any occult red blood cells, if you have any inflammation, if you are secreting protein, which is sign of kidney problems or underlying diabetes or uncontrolled. You can get a lot of information, and let me tell you, it's not a very expensive test.
Okay. All right. I'll get that done. I'm about to go see Hemel in January, as a matter of fact. One other thing, and I don't know if I have time to play this. Can you hear? Let me see if you can hear this. This is another thing that I found on the internet, and which, I know I shouldn't be paying attention to the internet for my health. I've got you, I've got Hemel, but just listen to this for a second.
People are not buying these blood pressure. Can anybody tell me why more people are not buying these blood pressure candies? I mean, they literally taste like Starburst. These are the mixed berry flavor, and they're sugar-free. With literally just 2 of these, you're getting 5,000 milligrams of beets, which is going to help relax your blood vessels, allowing more blood flow and oxygen to be delivered to all of the muscles in your body. These are literally the next viral thing, in my opinion. Not only that, but there's 60 in each bag. Literally 60. There's 60 in here. And you only need to eat 2 of them per day to be getting the 5,000 milligrams of beets, along with some raspberry acai. And you're also getting a couple vitamins in there, vitamin C, vitamin B12, and a few other things. So I would check them out. They should be on sale. They taste super good. Take 2 of them per day, and you're going to get that help with your blood pressure and so many other parts of your body. Check them out. Link is going to be down below.
It's called nitric oxide. Do you believe in this? Is this something I should order?
So, nitric oxide is an end product of a very common drug that we all are aware of, like, for example, Viagra. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you go to the basic concept of it, nitric oxide helps to vasodilate, relax your blood vessels. And that causes your lower blood pressure to fall. There has been some improvement in the blood pressure with nitric oxide, but there is a downside to it also. If you have a coronary artery disease, like a history of heart attack or a history of stroke, depends upon, because these are not FDA regulated medications, and these are usually Ayurvedic or herbal medications. It depends upon the content inside and how much concentration of nitric oxide or other similar medications they have. They can drastically drop your blood pressure and cause other adverse effects. But it's a very controversial topic. I will not recommend it. Reason being because it's not a FDA regulated. You don't know what is the dose of it, what is the chemical base with which they have mixed the salt. So it's a tricky thing.
That's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear. Ain't buying it. Ain't gonna do it. Appreciate the advice. Always good to talk to you, sir. Appreciate you taking the time.
You're very welcome.
We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Ralph.
All right,
Thanks for
take
having
care.
me.
Thank you. Dr. Jeet Singh. Quick time out. We're coming right back. It's a Monday. Cathy Abernathy joins us. Then the bottom of the hour, Marjorie Taylor Greene was on 60 Minutes. You'll hear from the Georgia Congresswoman at 4:30. It's TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Here's the hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Trump administration has announced a $12 billion farm aid package. White House correspondent Greg Buxton reports.
The federal assistance will be a boost to farmers who have struggled to sell their crops because of President Trump's tariffs. He said the aid will be coming from tariff revenue.
What we're doing is we're taking a relatively small portion of that, and we're going to be giving and providing it to the farmers.
The president, who was joined by cabinet officials, lawmakers, and farmers, said he hopes the billions in farm aid will also lead to lower prices for Americans. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Some of the school children recently abducted in Nigeria have been released.
The Christian Association of Nigeria says that 100 school children of the hundreds abducted from a Catholic school last month have been released. Gunmen attacked St. Mary's Catholic School on November 21st, seizing at least 303 children and 12 teachers. 50 managed to escape in the hours after that abduction. The church says they learned of the release over the weekend and that those released are to be transported to meet with officials. Locals blame the armed gangs that target schools and travelers in kidnappings for ransom across Nigeria's conflict-battered north. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Supreme Court on Monday seemed likely to expand presidential control over independent federal agencies, signaling support for President Trump's firing of board members. The court's conservative majority suggested it would overturn a unanimous 90-year-old decision that has limited when presidents can fire agencies' board members.
True about Cathy
On
Miller.
Wall Street, the Dow down by 215 points. The NASDAQ dropped 32. More at townhall.com.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals, and it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Caucasian, middle-aged, and balding. He's described as 5 feet 7 inches tall, 140 pounds, with brown and black hair with brown eyes. Back in June, Maya Hernandez's son Emilio died while he and siblings were in a hot car, and police say while Hernandez was inside a spa getting lip filler treatments. It has taken longer than expected, but her trial on second-degree murder charges began today with opening statements. Prosecutors say so far that Hernandez had the go-ahead to bring the kids inside, but chose not to. She says she left the AC going for the kids, but that car's AC shuts off after an hour. If you would like to help some at-risk kids and at the same time challenge yourself physically, then the 36th annual Fog Run at Lake Ming may be up your alley. That race is set for January 10th, starts at 8, and includes a 5 and 10K. The registration is $44, and that goes to support the Helping Hands program with mentoring, vocational training, and even to help buy clothes and hygiene products for the kids. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for, live from the KERN studio. Here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broad. You need some help over there? Let me give it to me. There you go. There you go. All right. Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Monday, 8th day of December. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. Still lots to do. We'll get into Marjorie Taylor Greene's appearance on 60 Minutes. You'll hear from the Congresswoman. And more on Jasmine Crockett. And coming up at the 5, since we alluded to it on Friday, but yesterday was the 84th anniversary of or commemoration of Pearl Harbor. We'll get into that, talk about Tara Reid, and then at 5:30, talk a little sports. Talk about Kevin Stefanski and his relationship with Shedeur Sanders and Jeff Kent, former Dodger second baseman, although much of his career was spent with the god-awful Stinky Smellies. He got into the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about that. And Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, which always reminds me of Kobe. Did you see how Daniel Jones got off the field?
Yeah.
They had to help him off the field.
There was a couple of them that were pretty gruesome this weekend. Zach Ertz had a bad one, too.
Oh, my point is, do you remember when Kobe tore his Achilles?
Yep. Shot the free throw and then walked off.
Shot the free throws, made both, and walked off the court.
There will never be another.
That is, you don't know how bad. I mean, that's almost as bad as when Matt Barnes took the basketball and threw it in Kobe's face and he didn't flinch. Like, how is that humanly possible? He was taking it out of bounds and he went like this into his face, and Kobe was like, what? And I'm telling you, I have never seen anybody walk on a torn Achilles. And he got up with a torn Achilles, made both the free throws, and walked off the court like a proud Mamba. It's a Monday. Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Cathy's looking for adventure. Professor Cathy Abernathy. How are you, Professor?
Well, I'm good. So what happened? He threw the ball in his face, or he faked it?
Yes, he was there. He's taking the ball out of bounds. Okay, you know basketball. So you and I'm taking the ball out of bounds, and you're guarding me, and I'm looking to get the ball in bounds, and he went like that.
Fake. Oh, fake. I thought he didn't throw it out.
No, he just went like this.
And he didn't flinch.
And he did not flinch. I'm like,
wow,
that's concentration, Jack. That is, and he tore his Achilles and continued to play. Right. Just finished. He got fouled, tore his Achilles, limped up to the free throw line, makes both the free throws, and walked off the court. And I don't know the pain of Achilles, but I know Gino Valpredo tore his Achilles, and he's talked about it's the most painful thing he's ever gone through. And we watched Daniel Jones try to walk yesterday with the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. He tried to walk it off and literally sat down and was like, come get me. But Mamba was like, hey, no, I ain't getting in no damn. And you know what else makes me think of, Chris? Paul Pierce.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing when you're about to talk about a wheelchair.
Where he got wheeled off the court and then came back in the game.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah, if you're so bad that we got to wheel you off the court, we're supposed to be taking you in an ambulance. You're not supposed to be like running back on the court. All of a sudden, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm ranting.
There'll never be another Kobe. And
There really won't.
I don't even know any player that the more I read about him and how his lifestyle, how he practiced, hours. And I don't know. Do the other guys do that? Really?
No.
I don't think so.
No, that's what made him extraordinary.
The commitment is.
It was crazy. And his daughter was going to be Gigi, the girl who died in the helicopter crash, was going to be a WNBA star.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been.
She had skills at that age that everyone that saw her just said, I've never seen a teenage girl with those kind of skills. And it's just.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, to be honest with you, I wasn't a Kobe fan. I really wasn't. He got into some shenanigans in Denver with a girl where he had sex with her like half an hour after he met her. And then she was the what do you call the person that checks you in? The person that checks you in at a hotel. And they were having sex like a half an hour later. And she claimed that he raped her. And I don't mean to be gross. This is an adult show. And these are the facts. One of the main reasons he got off is there were another man's semen on the panties that she wore when she had sex with Kobe. And, it's America. And when your credibility, when you seem like you're sleeping with everybody, allegations of rape kind of go right out the window. And then he alluded to Shaq. He said something like afterwards when he got off, I should have done what Shaq does and just lied or something like that. And that's when it's really lost me. You don't throw other people under the bus just because you're in trouble,
Not that it matters, but was he married then too?
Yes, he was. Yes, he's been married. He married that girl at a very young age. Is she really pregnant?
No.
That's just a Facebook live.
Everybody keeps trying to stir that up, but no, I don't think
she was pregnant with somebody. Yeah, I didn't think so. But anyway.
I don't think she's going to do that.
Anyway.
Well, what do I know?
So what are we discussing on this chilly Monday morning, afternoon?
Boy, it's cold. Well, a couple of big stories that have come out. One, of course, Minnesota's getting all the attention, but it's not just Minnesota, which is all this corruption.
Boy, I hope Tim Walz runs for president. Good. Google it.
Well, just think he could have been vice president, which means he could have been president.
Can you imagine?
He could have been, and even though, you know, because she got the popular vote, right, as I recall.
What are you talking about, Willis? Kamala?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I thought they kept saying she got the I don't recall. I know the
No,
Trump
Hillary.
overwhelmed her. Hillary did. Okay.
Vote.
But
No.
but she, yeah, that's right.
She got routed.
Yeah, she got routed. But still,
and then is claiming still the closest race in the 21st century. No, it wasn't. And I'm not counting 2000, even though I did originally, because I thought 2000 was technically the 21st century, and that was Gore, Bush, and the Chads, and boo. So I made a mistake. Throw that out. But 2016 was closer, where Hillary won the popular vote and lost the electoral. That was closer than this race. Kidding me? Anyway.
And speaking of electoral votes, you know, my other political plan, besides redistricting of how we do it in Sacramento, so we don't have this idiot box up there, is electoral votes. California has 54, and you need what, 270 to win president?
Correct.
Okay.
Do we still have 54?
Well, 52 congressional plus 2 senators, 54.
Okay.
Which is why when you lose one, you lose, but we're still biggest. I mean, Illinois, whatever.
Because we lost a couple, thanks to Gavin Newsom. And
right. Well, we were 53
exodus.
and then we're 52. And of course, they're padding it with all the counting done by all these volunteer groups. So the way it used to be, you got a letter, went to your mailbox. You don't answer it from the census. They sent you another letter. That was up to you, not people going around saying, okay, this building, 10 stories, 20 apartments, 200 people, whatever.
Right.
That's how they're counting now. So the numbers get inflated. And hiring local volunteer groups who are like Dolores Huerta's crowd that want to boost the numbers. But if instead of a state, especially as big as this, so 50 states, they all do it different ways, but most all of them do it the same way. Whoever wins the state gets the whole electoral package. But for 52 electoral votes out of 270, how about winning them by congressional district?
Yes, I absolutely agree. Don't they do that in Nebraska?
They do it in one other state. I thought Maine or Nebraska, right. And the point for Californians is we are so huge, 52 congressional seats, 800,000 people in each one. How about letting these presidential candidates maybe pay a little attention, which they don't, because it's like a given. If a Democrat's going to get one more vote than me, why should I bother?
Yeah,
I want these guys to come crawling out to us, even before the nomination and all that. And then whoever it is, if you win, then they kind of owe it to you. Maybe we'll get money for freeways and we'll get more support. But the Trump doesn't owe California anything. I mean, the donors give to him, but he gets nothing out of that. And I'm just thinking other candidates in the future would pay more attention to our needs, particularly as Central Valley, if it was based on congressional district, if they were drawn fair, which right now they're not. But still, he could win. Trump won Riverside and San Bernardino counties. You know, he can. A Republican can win those things. But it just seems like, why give away the whole state? Because L.A., San Francisco, Santa Barbara, and the coastal areas vote for a Democrat, and he gets all 52, and they take it for granted. So that's my other initiative I'd have in there, which is to change us to that kind of a system. And
I concur 100%. It would make it interesting because now, as a Republican, you're wasting time and money coming to California.
No reason to fly out here except hold a fundraiser. That's all
exactly.
They do.
Go to LA,
Even
go to
the
Century
Democrats
City.
Don't campaign because
Why?
there's more Democrats, so they'll win the whole state, 54 electoral votes. And that's a boatload to know you've got in your corner. And I look at Interstate 5 was built in 58, still 2 lanes on each side. In a state of California, 21st century, we're going to be going on a 100-year anniversary, and maybe they'll take a lane out. I don't know, but they got to make more lanes just for the trucks in this. As I watch out your window, it's all trucks on our roads. That's another. I have a good friend who used to work for the railroads, and he was telling me how this, instead of all this trucks now, if we had enhanced the rail system, not high-speed rail, just the basic package rail, that we could have a better system, cheaper, obviously, and of course, high-speed rail will never be built. But these trucks, they're in all 3 lanes, 4 lanes now.
Yeah.
Drivers, your listeners know this. They are the freeway. There is no, you go drive to LA and you see all the trucks, both directions, eating up minimum 2 lanes, often 3. It's because we're shipping in this day and age on the roads.
Just like we did in the 30s.
Yeah.
which is crazy to think. It's like almost 100 years ago.
We've got this huge Long Beach and is it Livermore or Oakland? I don't know what they call it up there, but those are the two big shipping areas that come into the state. And they're saying the train could bring them down instead of these trucks. So
yeah,
when I'm queen, I guess not king, I will do those things.
Okay. What do you got? What do you got highlighted there?
Well, I don't know how many people saw this article, but we know it. But the ability of college students and for example, UC San Diego, it's nice to think that there were staff people at UC San Diego, ranked 4th best in the nation by all these ranking groups, that looked at how much math knowledge these students have in college. And it's pathetic. It's just so pathetic. And they can't do, like when you say 2 times 3 plus 7 times 9 minus 6 minus 2, and it's parentheses. They don't know what to do with those, how to add it.
Right.
We all learn that.
Yes.
What?
You do the parentheses.
3rd grade?
You do the parentheses
first.
Yeah,
you do it first. They haven't learned that.
Even a guy that got 480 on the math SAT knows that.
Yeah.
And I literally got the lowest math score in my high school, in my senior class.
So you're thinking, well, how much are they going to use math? Well, it all has to do with how your brain, we're going into this AI world. We've got to have brains that can match it, not just sit there and tell them AI spit out for me what I need to do at my job today. But how is this happening? And 2 ways it's happening, that they get all the way to being 20 and 21 years old and about to graduate from college, which is one thing they did was they either eliminated in California the SATs, ACTs, or they have reduced it. First, they eliminated it because the gimmick was, well, we're not getting enough racial equity. They use that word as an excuse to say we won't do the SAT. Now, why don't you work instead in the schools and improve everybody's math scores? Why is it that you want to wait till after they've gone through the whole system and now you're going to give them breaks because they can't pass the SAT math score? No, let's get back into these schools. Why are these schools not teaching math the way they should? I just hope your listeners, go to your principals. Say, my kid, I don't see him able to do this, and he just keeps moving on. They keep moving along. And that's one thing that then they brought it back, and instead of it being a 3-hour test, with most of us remember SAT was 3 hours. It's now 2 hours.
Was
we don't want to tire. We don't want to tire. Yeah, it was 3 hours.
God, I can't even remember that.
Yeah, no, it was a long, and so they're doing everything to make everything easier, and the product coming out at the end, 22% of college students can handle math that you should have mastered, by 5th grade.
2 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
they're in our colleges. They're becoming our doctors, lawyers, everything. So, another thing, and I'll bring it up, it's the truth. You can't, because they're all union. Teaching math takes a little different brain or analysis and knowledge than teaching spelling or reading or history. You really have to understand these concepts, particularly as you get into junior high and high school.
Because I could teach those last 3 you mentioned. I could never, ever teach math.
Yeah. It's a different animal, and it takes a different animal, and yet these teachers get put in those classrooms, and they say some of them are teaching like some lower type, nothing to do with math, but how to get along in the world. They're doing that, and they're saying because of unions, we can't fire bad math teachers that are stuck in the math thing because they need somebody in the math department. All those things need to be looked at before we just give up on millions of California students. So,
I hate to make allusions to Casey's current community college district because I work for them. I don't want to seem like I'm pumping them up simply because I work for them. But what I've noticed, what they are doing, what the chancellor is doing, Stephen Bloomberg, is figuring a new way to educate children. And I think that's the only thing we can do. I think we have to change the equation. You know what I'm saying? Change the approach. I don't know, what they're doing is bringing college to younger kids. Their dual immersion program, where you can get a associate's degree while you're in high school. This summer, they've got a college discovery program where they're bringing 4th to 8th graders onto the BC campus to learn the experience and learn about industrial automation and health issues and things like this. And it's just thinking outside the box. Mm-hmm. The old method, that's why I am such a fan of Mrs. McMahon and the Secretary of Education, who wants to blow up the Department of Education. We have to. It's not working. Can't we all admit that these kids are growing up and they don't know how to read? And as I think we were just talking about last week, if you haven't figured out how to read by the time you're in 3rd, 4th grade, forget about it.
Right.
Because now in 5th and 6th grade, you're using what you were supposed to have learned to advance to other subjects and other issues. But if you can't read, you can't delve into math problems that have, Billy left on a train at 8 o'clock and Michael left on a train at 6 o'clock. One time, you can't even read the questions.
Right.
How can you answer them if you can't read? It's crazy.
And then the legitimate beef that, it sounds old school. Well, you're older people, so you don't agree. But if your life is only reading things nice and colorful on your phone, okay, math books aren't beautiful. They're not colorful. There's not a video of, Brad Pitt, playing Washington or something. But I don't feel like they really want to spend time reading a lengthy chapter on math and then sitting back and evaluate it. And I agree with what you're saying there. I have a problem, though. I'm not sold that we need 16, 15-year-olds for going and taking college while they're in high school in some class that they can master and be out of and go to college and be done with college faster.
Why?
I don't know, because I don't think they're learning the things they were supposed to learn in high school. They're just, and the community, well, in a way, the state of California, the taxpayers are paying twice for the same student at the same day. They're paying him for him to be in the high school, and they're paying for him to be in the community college. So I know they're doing that, but I'm wondering if we looked at why rush them through when there's so much more to learn than when you and I went to school. I was just telling someone today, when I went to school, I didn't study World War I much. And between World War I and World War II, that's why we had World War II. All that happened there. I don't think American students are taught these things. I think they could spend more time learning that than rushing them through to get through the college. But I know that's the latest wave.
Yeah, I don't think they're rushing them. I think they're giving them an opportunity to, A, get through college cheaper, B, get through college more expeditiously, and C, just opening their minds to the idea of college. When we grew up, it's not like this anymore, Cathy, but when we grew up, it wasn't a matter of if you were going to college, it was where you were going to college. And even the kids that I knew who weren't good students were still going to junior colleges. That's why I've always said that picture has changed. Because when we were kids, if you were going to junior college, you were made fun of. You were the kid that was getting C minuses, and you had to go to a junior college because you couldn't get into a 4-year school. And we literally, if you were going to West LA or Pierce College when we were kids, man, you couldn't get into a 4-year school. What's the matter with you? Now it makes sense. Get through your GEs at BC or Porterville or Saracoso, save some money, and then transfer to Cal State as a sophomore and save yourself
But you can do that without doing it while you're in high school. If you're not mastering high school, really, that's what this.
You really think kids that are taking college level courses aren't doing well in their regular courses?
Taking junior community college level courses?
Yeah.
Well, doing well in this state, the grades are pretty well, as we've seen from this. All these kids that got in UC San Diego had to have like a 4.0 to get in there. This is it's number 4 in the nation, top schools, top kids. So I just don't think we're educating them so well for their A's. I just don't think so. And I'll tell you, I see it in people using AI. You could see right through that in 1 second.
You really can.
Oh, it makes me cry when I see students try to use that with me when I say when I interview them for a job, I want an essay on something. Oh my goodness.
It's so obvious.
The principles of our nation. But so that's a little bit. I'm all for community college. My younger daughter, Madeline, she went to Taft College. It was wonderful. And because of that, and she was top there. And then she got into Baylor. I don't know if she would have gotten straight from high school there.
Yeah.
So I'm great with community college. I'm just not sure I want to push it so much on people still in high school. But
yeah,
I won't argue that.
I'll leave you with this. She's still rambling. Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who's thrown her hat in the ring for a Texas U.S. Senate race. Does she have a chance? She's going up against John Cornyn, who was in a fight for his life in the primary against the AG down there, Ken Paxton, but he's got a little baggage. Mr. Paxton does.
She's probably the only thing helping her out is the problem of the incumbents. I don't know if he's been there too long or not. Not that he's been there too long, but maybe he's a little bit older. But then Paxton has issues about him. I can't imagine this woman can get elected.
No, I don't think so.
I don't even know if Mandami would see that she could get elected in New York. But
what do you think of Wesley Hunt, the African-American Republican, the military cat? He's also running. I don't think he's running in
Texas
for this. Yeah, for the primary.
Well, if they have a primary system, it's a 3-man race. It's going to be the that's the best thing to help the senator.
Cornyn?
Yeah.
You think that helps him? Really? I thought it would hurt.
Well, if it's 3 Republicans, they have real primaries.
Right.
We don't, sadly.
Yeah.
So you have 3 people running and one's the incumbent. He'll get out of the primary.
Okay,
so
good.
He's probably fine with that.
Because Cornyn will kill her.
Oh yeah. Well, I think almost anybody could.
Yeah. That's what I said. I nominated Chris Burdick. He beat her.
Even Chris Burdick could beat her.
Yeah, but he's ineligible. He's at 31. He's ineligible. I lied because I have more time than I thought. I'll leave you with this.
No.
What?
25 congressmen, 30 senator, 35 president.
35 Senate?
No, 35 president.
Well, how old do you have to be in the Senate?
Well, I guess it'd be 30. 25 for Congress. Well, it's not the same as president.
I knew that, but I thought it was.
Well, you're making it 35 like president's 40. No, the minimum age for president's 35. I've never noticed that if the House and Senate have different ages, but I do because Devin Nunes ran so young.
Biden got in at 29, but he was technically turning 30, so he got.
He got into the Senate.
Yeah.
That way, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
But no big deal. But
the gubernatorial race.
Oh,
another Republican is involved.
Oh, this state?
Yeah. Chad Bianco's still leading with
Steve Hilton.
And
did you see the new Steve Hilton?
No, he's got a beard. Does he really? Doesn't he know no one gets elected with a beard?
Yeah, my husband used to say it costs you 5% of the vote, but with him, it's kind of distinguished looking. I think
a bald-headed man with a beard.
I don't know. People need to look and see what they think, but I don't know why he didn't do it.
I was joking, but when I looked through my historical booklet in my head, Abe Lincoln might have been the last guy with a beard elected to something significant in this country.
It does. Supposedly, Mark always said it cost you 5% of the vote. But that's before beards. Now, beards are more in now.
True that.
So they realize big difference.
Doesn't Vance have a beard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cathy Abernathy, everybody. Quick time out. Don't go anywhere.
I forgot Vance has a beard. Yeah, most men in the 21st century today have a beard. I cannot grow one. I cannot grow any hair on myself.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SLN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump is planning a $12 billion aid package for U.S. farmers who struggle to sell their crops while getting hit by rising costs. The move comes after the president raised tariffs on China as part of a broader trade war. The Supreme Court on Monday seemed likely to expand presidential control over independent federal agencies, signaling support for President Trump's firing of board members. The court's conservative majority suggested it would overturn a unanimous 90-year-old decision that has limited when presidents can fire agencies' board members. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 215 points. The NASDAQ dropped 32, with the S&P 500 lower by 23.
Hi, Cathy. See you next week.
More details at SRNnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Maya Hernandez of Visalia is now on trial on second-degree murder charges for the death of her one-year-old son Emilio, which happened in June. Opening statements began this morning with prosecutors saying Hernandez left her kids in a hot car
while she went inside a spa to get lip filler treatments, even though they say she had permission to let the kids come inside with her. The trial could take several weeks. If you've got junk you need rid of, this Saturday may be your day. It's the last pop-up trash event for the year in Bakersfield, and it's 8 to noon on Stockdale Highway. Some examples of items accepted include furniture, mattresses, box springs, major appliances, electronics, water heaters, and barbecue grills without the propane tank. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with the news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk water with the best in the business. That'd be Lois Henry from sjpwater.org. Cell phone detox camps for kids. We will talk about that. We will have news. We will have traffic. We'll have weather. 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and stream live on a worldwide website at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm thinking sushi tonight. You want some like that? Huh? Yeah. Girl, and she's so alright. It is like a damn refrigerator in here. It really is. That's why I'm wearing my turtleneck that's not a turtleneck, because I can't keep the flaps down. Anybody want to chime in on how you keep the flaps down on a turtleneck sweater? Do I just have a tiny neck? I don't know what the issue is. 842-5376-842-KERN. Let's check the board real quick. Anything?
Yeah, I got a couple here.
What do you got?
How come you never talk about the F1 championship, Red Bull and my McLarens?
Because I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
F1 racing?
Oh.
I don't follow, but...
Yeah, I don't follow it. I don't know it.
You're better off with Scott Cox in the morning.
Exactly. Or we could bring in... oh, God. Who do I know is a big race guy? A friend of mine that I can't remember his last name, so I'm not going to mention it, so I don't want them to know that I can't remember his last name. But that's why. I don't know anything about it. Sorry. Feel free to call the show and tighten us up if you want, but I don't know. Yeah, talk to Scott. He's on from 6 to 9 in the morning. What else you got?
Hey, Ralph, did you see that Jordan Love was selected as the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the Green Bay Packers? In my opinion, he makes Bakersfield proud.
I'm happy for him. And they had, what was the thing with the cleats? What'd they call it?
My cleat, my cause?
My cleat, my cause. And he had PALI, the Police Activities League. Bakersfield Police Activities League was his charity. I don't know. I've heard different things about Mr. Love. Yes, he comes back and has a camp here. And I think he truly loves this community, but not like the cars. You know what I mean? I've heard some things from people in the industry that have to cover him, and they say
as other guys from our community who have made it. Because again, we've had a long list of athletes that have made it to the pros in all different sports, baseball and a few in basketball, nothing recent, but we used to back in the days, Henderson and Chris and a lot of guys from our community made it in basketball. But I don't know. Seems like a nice guy, and he's playing well. Beat Caleb last night. Did you see the game?
I did.
He had that guy.
Yeah, he did.
But he
you need to lob it a little bit more and get into the back of the end zone.
Well, he's just throwing off his back foot too often.
Yeah, that too.
And that's the offensive line's part. That they've got to figure that out. The Bears do. Because if you notice, I think on almost every touchdown that he threw, he's running for his life.
Yeah.
Running for his life. And he depends, as does Mahomes, because I saw a throw Mahomes made where he's on his back foot and there was a guy in his chest and he's still just on pure arm strength. You know, he's a shortstop. His dad was a Major League Baseball player, played with A-Rod, his dad did, Pat Sr., and they just get away with it arm-wise. But when you look at quarterbacks throughout the history of the league with really strong arms, they're the guys that throw a lot of interceptions. And it doesn't matter how good they are. Joe Namath was Mr. Interception. And the reason, Brett Favre, another guy who threw a lot of interceptions. John Elway, surprisingly, threw a lot of interceptions. Not as much in the latter part of his career when he won the 2 Super Bowls, but when he was our arch nemesis, he would drive us crazy, but we'd always beat him because he'd end up throwing 2 or 3 touchdowns and 1 or 2 key interceptions. And that's because when you've got that strong of an arm, you think you can throw the football through a keyhole. And you do 7 out of 10 times, but those 3 times, you end up throwing it to the other team. And Caleb played extremely well. Well, I don't know about extremely well. He played well, brought them back into the ball game, and then they drove down 7, which was the line, by the way. How these guys are spot on, I have no idea, the books. And he was rolling left, and he had his tight end at the back of the end zone, and he just, off his back foot, didn't elevate it enough, didn't throw it farther enough back of the end zone, and it got picked, and they lose the ball game at the end of the thing. But the Bears are for real, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
They are full real. We'll talk about that later on the program when we get into sports and talk about Jeff Kent and some of the guys that did make it into the Hall of Fame. But I like the Bears. And we got a good one tonight. Oh, by the way, I have buried the lead. Congratulations to Bakersfield Christian High School and Darren Carr and DirecTV. Trying to sell me something.
Are you happy with your service?
Exactly, because I paid the bill on Friday. So it's clearly, yeah. And by the way, I'm getting rid of Paramount.
Are you?
Yeah. Because I still have not seen more than 2 episodes of Landman. And it's just...
Yeah, you're killing yourself at that point.
At $13 a month, and I'm not even using it. The truth of the fact of the matter is I don't really use Netflix, but Netflix is too huge now. Although there's a fight now going on for Warner Brothers.
Paramount threw out $108 billion
is going to
Warner
be
Brothers.
interesting. We'll talk about that on Friday with Rick Bentley.
I hear that Congress might block this sale altogether, though, just because of the potential monopoly that this is going to become.
Yeah, we'll see. What do you got?
I wonder if Cathy could... Oh, well, no, this is a little bit late on this one. I apologize. The other one says...
It doesn't matter what time it is. I don't care.
All right, it says, I wonder if Cathy could explain to us, loyal listeners, why President Trump is blowing up drug runners' boats with cocaine. But, yeah, it's a little late to ask that question now. But
because they have boats full of cocaine, primarily. There's your answer. Now, I don't want to get into the second shot thing and the whole Hegseth thing. I've made my position clear. I'm not a Pete Hegseth fan. And I think a decent Secretary of Defense takes full responsibility for whatever happens. But they threw Frank Mitchell Bradley under the bus. And it depends on what congressperson, what senator you talk to. You talk to Tom Cotton, he thought it was justified. If you talk to a Democrat, they're calling it one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in their lives, which of course is absurd. But it is what it is. It is what a TI is. They've killed more than 80 people, taken down 22 boats. And I just think in cases like this, just like we do in law enforcement, you give the military the benefit of the doubt. And Mitchell Bradley is a well-respected, well-decorated admiral and had a JAG officer with him, advising him during the decision. But again, it's pure Pete Hegseth to throw Bradley under the bus and then try to come back and say, I would have done the same thing. Then why did you bring up Bradley? If you're ultimately responsible and you're saying you would have made the same call, why did you bring up the admiral? Why did you have to drag him in to be crucified by the Intelligence Committee and the Oversight Committee when it's your responsibility? Instead, Pete Hegseth, in typical lack of character Hegseth manner, said that he left the room. He saw the first strike and then he said he left the room. It's just, I don't know. I just personally don't like the guy. And I don't know him, so I don't know. It's not personal. You know, those of you who support Pete Hegseth are probably saying it's personal. How can it be personal? I don't know the guy. Of what I know and his behavior, I just think he's incompetent and should have never been Secretary of Defense. Nor do I think Pam Bondi is. Again, I've gone through my list of competent Trump cabinet members, and it's Doug Burgum, it's Scott Beeson, the Treasury Secretary, it's Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary, it's, I hear Christine Noma's in trouble, that she's under the gun with Trump. But there's a handful of people, it's not the whole cabinet, but Patel and Bongino and Bondi and Hegseth and Kennedy, just a clown show, absolute clown show. One more, and let's take a break.
His last one just says, totally awesome show today on TRBS and Kern 96.1. No idiot boxes here and properly fitting turtleneck tops here. Thank you, Chris and Ralph.
Thanks, Mom. Appreciate that. It's my mother chiming in. No, I don't know who that was. Thank you. Appreciate that. And yeah, I can't, it's really annoying that every time I feel down, it's turned up. I'm not a turtleneck guy.
You maybe have
this is the warmest. This is the warmest thing I own. And now that we're on television, essentially on YouTube, I don't feel comfortable wearing my hoodies, but I guess I'm going to have to because it's cold. It is cold, cold, cold. I am sleeping. I normally sleep with a t-shirt. I'm sleeping with a hoodie and sweats. Because it's 68 degrees in my house. I won't let it get any warmer. And it's cold. 68 degrees? And you got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and urinate and create some foam in your toilet? If you're just joining us, forget about it. Go back and watch it on YouTube. Listen to Dr. Jeet Singh at 3:45 to know what I'm talking about. The bubbles in your urine could be an issue. Now I've got to add, when I try to get you guys to get blood tests during the year, now Dr. Singh tells us once or twice a year you should have your urine checked as well. And it's not expensive. Quick time out, coming right back. Marjorie Taylor Greene was the topic, the lead on 60 Minutes last night with Leslie Stahl. You'll hear from the Georgia Congresswoman when we come back. It's TRBS on Monday. News Talk 96.1 AM 1180 KER and streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Tuesday edition, Clay and Block will break down all the latest Supreme Court underway with a bunch of different significant hearings, plus the continued fallout associated with Venezuela and more. All that coming your way. Plus, our good friend Uncle Bill O'Reilly will be with us to break down everything coming up at the end of the year and help us get started for what's to come next. You won't want to miss it. Tuesday edition, Clay and Block.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
King Door Company continues to set the standard in the garage door industry, and I'm here to tell you a few of the reasons why. First off, King Door carries Clopay garage panels and LiftMaster openers, so you're guaranteed quality and reliability well beyond the reach of most garage door companies, and it just gets better from there. King Door has a fleet of fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and tools to handle any job quickly and efficiently, and those trucks are manned by the most knowledgeable technicians anywhere. They have all the technical expertise imaginable and the most up-to-the-minute training available. In fact, King Door is so committed to training that they have the King Door Academy, a full-size, state-of-the-art classroom right on the premises with all the latest teaching aids, including working garage doors to simulate any installation, repair, or technique. Your garage door is a very important part of the safety, security, and look of your home, so don't trust it to anyone but King Door Company. Call them today at 397-2744. Stop by the showroom at 7450 District Boulevard, or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, your company with the pride of a lion.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Guy Picard.
Hi, my name is Guy Picard, and I am very happy that I found Paul Sheldon. What a relief it is trying to turn 65 and find somebody like him to help me navigate this industry.
Yeah.
I think that it's really important that you look at all of the options that you have and then give Paul Sheldon a call, because he will create a plan that fits your budget and fits what you're trying to achieve as far as trying to get the best possible medical care that you can have. So I'd like to recommend Paul Sheldon to any of you out there that are trying to navigate the medical industry at turning 65. Give Paul Sheldon and his staff a call. They are awesome. And I'd just like to say, Paul and your whole entire staff, you guys rock.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 9.
Well, not initially. They were upset that they ended up going with somebody that they really didn't want to go with because of my delay, I guess.
Duh.
And then they came up, and then we ended up going to where you guys were, because it was like 9:30, 9:45, and I was figuring, y'all were done by then, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, we were way gone by then.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So we went up there, and anyway, so it ended better than it started that morning when I came in here and said, there's a reason I'm not married, and never have been and never will be. There are definite reasons.
Did you at least admit to your fluff up?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
there
I
you go.
did. I threw myself on the mercy of the court.
Attaboy.
Because I was about to defend myself and say, had you just waited, I was going to say yes. I was just, but no, you're right.
Don't you do that.
No, see, that's my approach. Post 60 is George Costanza. Whatever Ralph Bailey is going to do the opposite. That's how I'm approaching things right now.
And I said, I'm going to defend myself. No, don't do that. Throw yourself on the mercy of the court. I don't want to, but I'll do the George Costanza. In the meantime, Marjorie Taylor Greene was the subject of Leslie Stahl's piece yesterday that was the lead. Normally when they have a big guest like that, they save them for last, so you'll watch the whole program. But they led with her, and she talked about her new relationship with Donald Trump and basically said that the division began, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she was one of 4 Congress people, along with Lauren Boebert and Tim Burchett and was it Angus King, that independent from Maine? I can't remember who the 4th was, but nevertheless, 4 Republicans, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, signed off on releasing the Epstein files. And she says that's where the relationship ended.
Did you ever imagine that you would be standing with the Democrats on the Epstein files and on health care subsidies?
No, I never imagined that. We did talk about the Epstein files, and he was extremely angry at me that I had signed the discharge petition to release the files. I fully believe that those women deserve everything they're asking. They're asking for all of it to come out. They deserve it. And he was furious with me.
What did he say?
He said that it was going to hurt people.
That's interesting. I don't think she's lying.
Did she say that he was going to hurt people or that it was going to hurt people?
It was going to hurt people.
So
the release.
I don't know why I heard something different at first.
Yeah. She, I don't know. I can't figure Marjorie Taylor Greene out because at the beginning of the piece, they kind of chronicled some of the wackadoo things she had said. And in my new conversion and liking her, I heard those things and I was like, ooh, yeah. That 9/11 was an inside job, the whole Jewish laser thing, the QAnon, I mean, she was out there. And she got into it with Leslie Stahl when Leslie was like, you know, is this Marjorie Taylor Greene 2.0 for real? Or is this just you trying to reinvent yourself? And I think we have the bite when she asked her about her political future. Here's what the Congresswoman said.
A lot of people think you're doing it and that you, in a year or so, are going to run for some other office.
I have zero plans, zero desire to run for president. I would hate the Senate. I'm not running for governor. But Leslie, it doesn't matter how many times I say it. I'll have face-to-face conversations with people, and I'll flat out tell them to their face, and they won't believe me. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And they wink at me, and I'm like, okay. It's just like I don't know how to make it more clear.
You mean you just jumped off the cliff and you don't know where you're going to swim to?
Surprise, surprise, I'm not your politician with a whole itinerary of plans or political ambitions.
I believe that, but I don't believe her political career is over. I don't think she's going to run for president because I don't think she has the dough. I don't understand her hating the Senate, but liking Congress. Like you enjoyed being one of 435, but you didn't want to be one of 2 from your home state or one of 100. And having a 6-year term as opposed to a 2-year term. I mean, I've never heard that. I've always thought, and maybe this is just my own thinking, but if you had to pick between the House and the Senate, it's not even close, in my opinion, and you've heard me talk about this. I hate the idea that it's a 2-year term in Congress. The fact that you get elected and within 8-9 months, you're running again. You're running again. So basically, 2 months into your, so let's say I get elected tomorrow to Congress. 3 months from now, I've got to start raising money for my second term, which the election is in like 18 months. That's crazy. In the Senate, you have 6 years. It was created like that so that it would be a deliberative body so you could take on major issues and not have to worry about the political ramifications. Because the reality is, and I think even the founding fathers knew this, if you screw up in 2025, by the time you're up for re-election in 2030, 2031,
That's in the past. So you can make more controversial choices like John McCain, who voted against killing Obamacare, but was still reelected and got the nomination for president. Here's final from Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I'm going to ask you about this almost solid support he has among Republicans in Congress. Is there in that support fear? Does the support come about because they're afraid that they'll get death threats?
I think they're terrified to step out of line and get a nasty Truth Social post on them. Yes.
And they're watching what happened to you?
Yes.
Behind the scenes, do they talk differently?
Yes.
How?
Oh, it would shock people.
Well, let's shock people.
Okay. I watched many of my colleagues go from making fun of him, making fun of how he talks, making fun of me constantly for supporting him, to when he won the primary in 2024, they all started, excuse my language, kissing his ass and decided to put on a MAGA hat for the first time.
Well, we know that for a fact because our very own congressman or former congressman and former used to be Trump's best buddy. And yet behind the scenes, Kevin McCarthy was suggesting at one point in his career that they use the 25th Amendment against the president. It's not fear of death threats, although the backstory on that is in the interview. Marjorie Taylor Greene chronicles how she's received death threats since her breakup with Donald Trump and even death threats on her children. But leave it for Leslie Stahl to get into that, because the real fear in Congress of Donald Trump, everybody knows what the fear is, and that's that Congressman Ralph Bailey is going to get primaried in a safe Republican seat, and if you lose the primary, obviously, your career is over. And the amazing thing about Donald Trump, and I would vote for him again in 28, I really would. But the most amazing thing that the party puts up with is absolute disregard to Reagan's 11th commandment. Thou shalt not speak ill of a Republican. He's taken it to the point where he destroys Republicans. I know y'all don't like Liz Cheney because you love Donald Trump, but Liz Cheney was a good Republican. Marjorie Taylor Greene is wackadoo, but she was a good conservative Republican. And these are two people that voted with Trump more than 97% of the time, and yet he destroyed their careers. This part of the man I do not understand, and what confounds me even more is how members of the party, and I'm talking about you all, I'm talking about constituents, can put up with that. Quick time out, final hour of the broadcast. We'll talk about Pearl Harbor when we come back.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Sweet, I love it. News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Jeet Peters in Washington. The Supreme Court seems ready to expand presidential control over independent federal agencies. White House correspondent Craig Clugston reports.
During oral arguments, the High Court's conservative majority signaled support for President Trump's firing of board members from federal agencies. Such a ruling would overturn a unanimous 90-year-old decision that has limited when presidents can fire such members. Liberal justices warned that a ruling sought by the administration would give the president massive, unchecked, uncontrolled power. The Supreme Court is expected to rule by the end of June. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Affordable Care Act enrollment is slightly ahead of last year so far, despite expiring subsidies. Correspondent Bernie Bennett has more.
Initial new federal data shows the number of Americans signing up for the Affordable Care Act health insurance for 2026 is moderately higher than it was at a similar time last year, even as subsidies set to expire at the end of 2025 will make the coverage more expensive for many. Seen at face value, the data from the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services seems to defy predictions that many Americans facing pricier plans will drop out of marketplace coverage altogether next year. But experts caution that the numbers are an incomplete snapshot of total enrollment, which could still show a decline by the end of the open enrollment period. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
President Trump is giving farmers some $12 billion in aid to help as they struggle to sell their crops while getting hit by rising costs. The move Monday comes after the president raised tariffs on China as part of a broader trade war. China has since agreed to buy more U.S. soybeans, but sales have so far been slow. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 215 points. The Nasdaq dropped 32. More at townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-524-4948. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-524-4948. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-524-4948. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-524-4948 or biglou.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Some people missing who need to be found. I'm Chris Davis. The first one is a 15-year-old who is missing from Bakersfield, and police describe him as at risk. His name is Albert Holguin. He was last seen Friday morning about 9 in the Old River Road area. He's 5 foot 6 inches tall, 135 pounds, with brown hair and eyes. He was last seen in a black puffer jacket, light blue jeans, and black Vans shoes. Police are hoping you might recognize him and give them a call to alleviate some worry. Another person missing is Dino Roy Villoria, last seen Saturday night about 10:30. Kern County deputies are the ones who put out the alert, but they haven't said where he was last seen, nor did they say how old he was. A picture shows someone who appears to be Caucasian, middle-aged, and balding. He's described as 5 feet 7 inches tall, 140 pounds, with brown and black hair with brown eyes. Back in June, Maya Hernandez's son Emilio died while he and siblings were in a hot car, and police say while Hernandez was inside a spa getting lip filler treatments. It has taken longer than expected, but her trial on second-degree murder charges began today with opening statements. Prosecutors say so far that Hernandez had the go-ahead to bring the kids inside, but chose not to. She says she left the AC going for the kids, but that car's AC shuts off after an hour. If you would like to help some at-risk kids and at the same time challenge yourself physically, then the 36th annual Fog Run at Lake Ming may be up your alley. That race is set for January 10th, starts at 8 and includes a 5 and 10K. The registration is $44, and that goes to support the Helping Hands program with mentoring, vocational training, and even to help buy clothes and hygiene products for the kids. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on a cold Monday night, 8th day of December. 17 days left of shopping. I did some shopping this weekend via my telephone, but I did do some shopping. You know what I want to purchase and put it in here, and I think I might?
Space heater?
No. But yeah, that'd be nice. All you do is turn on the heat. It was 68 degrees in here. I just turned on the heat. Now it feels good. Have you seen this? The trumpet playing Snoopy.
Like an actual like Snoopy toy that.
Oh, it's so cool, dude. And I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna buy it. I really am.
Oh, heck yeah.
And it's only like $39. And he plays his head moves. I'm now that you got excited about it, I'm definitely gonna buy it. And we'll put it right there.
I find joy in little things like that.
Me too. And of course, you know that's my favorite song.
Naturally, it's your.
I was just you just gave up on what I was about to do.
I apologize. I know you were teeing it up.
I was. Where is it? Let's see. I love that song. I'm sorry. I was a huge Peanuts guy growing up. I played Charlie Brown in my junior year, my first year at Brentwood. I played Charlie Brown. And they used to call me Charlie Brown because I had a big head. And they used to call me the Great Pumpkin. I had a lot of bad nicknames.
Up, man.
I know. Dude, I hated it. The Great Pumpkin. And my roommate, Danny Gunn, the late Danny Gunn, had this volleyball that he painted red. And he kept it on. We had like this ladder. I don't know why we had a ladder in our apartment. And he left it up there and had Ralph on it. And I thought it was funny. I mean, I didn't think it was funny, but I thought it was funny. It was cute. All the girls loved it. So I left it up there. But yeah, I have a very large head. A very large head. And I know what you're saying. Figuratively speaking? No, literally. I've told you the story. Go ask Gary Fowler. No, it wasn't. I always blame it on Fowler. It wasn't Fowler. It was my JV coach, Glenn Beatty, who took me into the storage room and said, "We're going to find a helmet for you, Bailey." And this was Bronco Negressi's. And it would get to about the temple of my head. All right. This is Pete Mangren. He got to LSU and played in the pros. He was 6'7", 240 pounds. Try this one on. Nope. And for 2 weeks, I had to do drills and run and do everything that everybody else did but hit because I didn't have a helmet. And I would have to stand on the sidelines. And finally, my dad and I ordered a Rydell water helmet with the coolest face mask. Man, I had the chilliest face mask. I had, I still see it in the NFL. It was the double bar, but it wasn't the typical double bar that you see. It was kind of it started like up here. The nodule started above the thing and it came down and it was like slender. I just thought it was so chilly because to play good, you've got to look good. Meantime, yesterday was the 84th commemoration of Pearl Harbor. We talked a little bit about it on Friday, but I thought it was important to talk about this. About 7:55 Hawaiian time, the Japanese with an armada attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, which brought us into the war. And one of the ugly, in fact, I got into an argument. I think I was doing TV at the time. I was doing TV at the time. And I was doing a piece up in Glenville about their water. This is in the mid-late 90s when they had brown water and they couldn't get any help from the county, et cetera. And I did a story up there. And I was having lunch because we were spending the whole day in Glenville. And I was having lunch and I overheard this man talking about December 7th, 1941, and how Franklin Roosevelt knew that the Japanese were going to attack us. And what you have to know about the year 1941, because again, this happened at the end of the year, December, there was great debate about whether or not we should get involved in the war. And there were very intelligent, respected men like Charles Lindbergh. Yes, that Charles Lindbergh, the great pilot who flew from New York to Paris in the first transatlantic flight on board the Spirit of St. Louis, which you can see if you go to Washington and go to the Smithsonian, who believed we should not get into the war. Joseph Kennedy Sr. also didn't believe, for obvious reasons. He knew what would happen, and it happened, that one of his boys
or several of his boys would have to go into the war, which John and Joseph Jr. did. John was damn near killed when his PT boat was split in two by a Japanese destroyer. And Joe Jr., who was supposed to be the Kennedy, who would be the first Irish Catholic president, died during the war. And Kennedy, Joe Sr., was the ambassador of the United Kingdom to Britain. And actually, Joe Sr. wanted to be the first president, and then his son would do the George Bush, John Quincy Adams, and follow in his footsteps. But Kennedy destroyed his political career while being the ambassador of the United Kingdom and said that democracy would not hold in Great Britain, which was essentially saying the Nazis were going to win. And Charles Lindbergh, by the way, and we'll get to Pearl Harbor in just a second. I know I'm off the road, but Charles Lindbergh was a Nazi. He really was. He was as anti-Semitic as it gets. He thought Adolf Hitler was a man that we should admire, and that's why he was against the war. Meantime, from our book, We Interrupt This Broadcast, which if you have not seen or read, is an incredible historical book. There are now 2 editions. And if you're looking for a good present, Christmas present, for somebody like me who's an historian, this would be a great, great present. It's called We Interrupt This Broadcast. And within the book are pictures that I guarantee you've never seen, because I consider myself a pseudo-historian. And just pictures of, like, say, the Kennedy assassination, the Robert Francis Kennedy assassination. There's a picture with Ethel hovering over Bobby's body that I had never seen. Maybe you all have seen it, but they're just incredible pictures. And along with that comes discs like the one we're about to play that encapsulate each different point in history. And it starts with, I think one of the earliest historical events they cover is the Hindenburg explosion, which took place in the 1930s, I think. And then it ends, I think the very last one is John Jr.'s ill-fated air flight. In the meantime, here's Bill Curtis on Pearl Harbor.
Before and after December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii has beckoned visitors to an island paradise in the Pacific. But for 2 hours that morning, it was the site of a sneak attack that changed the course of world events. From that moment on, the name Pearl Harbor would be linked forever with those events, and an unforgettable day that will live in infamy. Well before that fateful morning, political tensions had been mounting between the Japanese Empire and the United States. Japan was already engaged in a fierce war with China and had signed an alliance with Germany in 1940. Though technically avowing neutrality, the U.S. was actively aiding England and other European countries that were at war with Germany, while putting an embargo on supplies such as oil to all of Germany's allies, including Japan. By mid-1941, the Japanese government had decided that war with the United States was inevitable. Even while peace negotiations continued, plans were being made to launch a preemptive airstrike against the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, home base of the Pacific Fleet. Sunday, December 7th, dawned across the rest of America much like any other day. The nation's radios were tuned to NBC's religious program, National Vespers, or the New York Philharmonic over CBS, or the football playoff between the New York Giants and Brooklyn Dodgers on the Mutual Network. Then came the news that would shock and unite this nation like no other events in our history.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this important bulletin from the United Press. Flag, Washington. The White House announces Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Stay tuned to WOR for further developments.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special broadcast. Here's the bulletin. Washington. The President decided today, after Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor and Manila, to call an extraordinary meeting of the Cabinet for 8:30 p.m. tonight, and to have congressional leaders of both parties join the conference at 9 p.m. And now we take you to Honolulu. We have witnessed this morning off Pearl Harbor.
The attack on Pearl Harbor left 2,335 Americans dead, over half of whom perished when a bomb dropped from a Japanese fighter plane detonated the ammunition supplies on the battleship USS Arizona. There were more than 1,000 wounded, and dozens of U.S. ships were destroyed or seriously damaged. But if Japan had hoped to obliterate U.S. opposition by its attack, the results were just the opposite. Shocked and angered, the country united behind President Roosevelt's decision to declare war on Japan.
No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
The day that will live in infamy became only the first of many, as the United States entered the most devastating global conflict in modern history.
And again, as I said at the top of the show, that's why when we go on Honor Flight, we have the rare opportunity, thanks first to Kevin McCarthy and now to Vince Vaughn and Congressman Valadao, to actually go on the House floor. And as we file in, it takes a long time because everybody's got to go through security. So it's about a 10-minute wait before we can get everybody. We got 150, 200 people, and to get them all through security and check their phones and things you have to do to get into the actual floor, it takes a while. And one of the first things I do when I walk in there is I go to the podium and I just stand there. I really do. It's weird. I'm a strange man, but just to think, this is where Franklin Roosevelt gave that speech. I'm standing where Franklin Roosevelt was propped up because remember he had polio and he was bound in a wheelchair and he had braces and he could stand, but he could not walk and he could barely stand. And there's a great story because 3 months later, as many of you should know, and I hope you do, Roosevelt was vengeful and he wanted payback. And he said, we have to attack Tokyo. And the Joint Chiefs and most of the experts were like, that's not really doable, sir. And the story goes, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard this in several bios and several other books that I've read about Franklin, that when they said that, it was a consensus in the room that it just wasn't feasible. And he said, gentlemen, my doctors tell me that I can't stand. And for one of the rare times, he stood up in the meeting. And he said, if I can defy doctors, we can defy the odds. And we are going to bomb Tokyo. And everybody got jubilant and said, we can do this. And they got Jimmy Doolittle to lead the raid. And if you know anything about it, they were expected to be about 300 miles off of the shores of Japan. And because something got tipped, and I don't know whether it was, I think it was, no, it wasn't Doolittle that made the call. It was Admiral Nimitz who said, we got to go now. And they were like, Admiral, we're 600 miles off of Japan as opposed to 300. And he said, doesn't matter. They know we got to go now. And that's why so many of the pilots had to ditch. They were supposed to reach China. Many of them didn't. Some of them did. Many of them were killed. But that really was a morale booster for the war. And then just a month later was the Battle of Midway, in which we ambushed the Japanese, who were again trying to take over the entire Pacific. Again, how people aren't fascinated by World War II just on a general tip, let alone for educational purposes, I've never really understood. Because much like the Revolution, much like the Civil War, World War I isn't that fascinating, to be honest, because it was trench warfare and it was just a bloody mess. But the miracles that emerge out of World War II That war should have got, we were going to win inevitably. But due to a couple of factors, namely the idiocy and drug addiction of Adolf Hitler, who incredulously created several different fronts, like taking on the Russians while you're taking on us and Western Europe, just made absolutely no sense. That's why they tried to kill Hitler so many times. It wasn't, once or twice. They tried to kill Hitler like close to a dozen times, all unsuccessfully, which was good for us because he was a crack meth addict freak who was one of the worst military leaders in history. Thank you, Jesus. Or we'd all be goose-stepping. Quick time out. We'll check the board. Got some audio from Tara Reid, who claimed that she was drugged, but there is no evidence of that after she literally gulped down 5 glasses of wine. And we're talking a little football at the bottom of the hour. Eagles and the Chargers just got underway, but it was a great weekend of college football. Indiana beat the Buckeyes. Sorry, Shauna. Shauna had to have not in a good mood on this Monday. She is a Buckeye through and through. They'll play again because this playoff system is ridiculous. James Madison, really? Tulane University, the Green Wave. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. And the Catholics are livid. We'll get into that. Plus, Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat after one of the most idiotic calls in the history of the National Football League, which illustrates even further his weird relationship with Deion Sanders' son. Quick time out. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Wow, I guess we're talking about this openly now. The Trump administration with a big document out that says, hey, Europe, you're allowing immigration to erase who you are. You ought to stop. President Zelensky meeting with a lot of European leaders to discuss the peace plan. I'm using my finger quotes for peace plan with Russia, and we'll check in and see how that went and all the other news of the day on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
This is your intrepid news reporter, Scoop Newsman, coming to you live from a helicopter high above the historic Santa Margarita Ranch. From this great reporter's lofty vantage point, I can see preparations are continuing for the return of the Jingle Bell Express that will whisk passengers to Santa's village. Reports are that the historic Jingle Bell Express will be pulling amongst their cadre of rolling stock, genuine original Disney train cars. Once you arrive, kids and adults will be entertained like never before with a mystic magic show, a charming Christmas market, adorable pony rides, and more food, fun, and frivolity than ever. The Jingle Bell Express will be arriving at the historic Santa Margarita Ranch November 28th and running until December 21st. But get your tickets now. This reporter also has a source deep inside Santa's village that has confirmed that if your plans change, your tickets can change too, from now until November. So make sure you reserve your seats on the Jingle Bell Express by going to Christmas@themargarita.com before the Christmas train passes you by.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey, for Agape Air. You know, when the air just isn't right, call the team that gets it done right. That's Agape Air, keeping homes comfortable for 18 years, locally owned and always professional. And who knows better than I? They serve my complex. From smart thermostat help to service requests, repairs, replacements, and preventative maintenance, Agape Air is prompt, knowledgeable, and delivers quality you can trust. Don't sweat it. Call Agape Air at 661-399-6600 today. Agape Air, comfort you can feel, service you can trust.
Welcome to Sundale Country Club, your home for golf, family, and friends. Sundale is more than golf. It's a jewel in the heart of Bakersfield. The proud home of the award-winning Phoenix restaurant, combining upscale dining with magnificent golf course views. Sundale Country Club will soon be your favorite getaway without even leaving town. To reserve a tee time or make a dining reservation, call 661-831-4200. Open to all, but ask about our membership benefits. Golf, family, and friends. It all comes together at Sundale Country Club.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Is JR in there?
No, you just took off. Why?
Because I almost went to Hard Rock Saturday with Mike Arier, who, by the way, is going to be advertising with us very soon. Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue. He's a local caterer, one of my best friends, who is a former NFL player, played for the Green Bay Packers and the New York Football Giants, played for Bill Parcells. And in fact, as I always mention, he is part of the Bill Parcells bio, if you've ever seen it on ESPN. He was off the line of scrimmage, apparently, according to Coach Parcells, and took that out on Mike as he was walking. And I'm telling you, even with the helmet on, you can see that it's Mike, if you know Mike Arier. But he's been a successful caterer for almost a decade now, and he's going to be advertising with the Ralph Bailey Show. Couldn't believe it. What was I going to bring up? God dang it. I cannot remember. Oh, Hard Rock Cafe.
Right.
I heard this rumor because we have a friend that works there who insists there's no Texas Hold'em. And I'm like, that cannot be true. I said, he says there's poker, but there's no Texas Hold'em. And I'm like, well, what are they playing? 5-card stud? They could be playing, what's the one with all the cards?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm not. We talk about war? We talk about
No, it's a poker game, but it's many more cards than Hold'em. Somebody will check.
Yeah, someone try it. I'm not sure.
I'll look it up. But somebody call in or text us. Is that true? There's no. I just find that ridiculously hard to believe because of all the poker games, draw and stud, and the one I can't remember. Texas Hold'em is by far the most popular. Final half hour of the broadcast. I would stick around if I you. It's TRBS.
News Talk 96.1 and AM.
Omaha?
Omaha, yeah.
With SLN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
Hey,
Paramount has launched a hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. The effort announced Monday initiates a potentially bruising battle with Netflix to buy the company behind HBO and CNN, along with the power to reshape much of the nation's entertainment landscape. The Supreme Court on Monday seemed likely to expand presidential control over independent federal agencies, signaling support for President Trump's firing of board members. The court's conservative majority suggested it would overturn a unanimous 90-year-old decision that has limited when presidents can fire agencies' board members. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 215 points, the NASDAQ dropped 32, the S&P declined 23. More details at SRNnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Two people are missing in separate cases, but police would like your help, asking you to be on the lookout first for 15-year-old Albert Hoguin. He's been missing since Friday morning in the Old River Road area. He's 5'6", 135 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Dino Roy Valoria was last seen Saturday night about 10:30. He is 5'7", 140 pounds, with brown and black hair and brown eyes. Kern County deputies are asking for a call if you see him. The 36th annual Fog Run, a 5 and 10K, is happening January 10th at Lake Ming. The $44 registration, good until the end of the month, supports Helping Hands, in turn helping at-risk kids with scholarships and mentoring. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus is celebrating 30 years in business by offering you no interest financing for 12 months. Head over to carpetoutletplus.com to apply now. You can get new waterproof flooring and comfy carpet in the bedrooms, all from one trusted place. Over 70,000 customers can't be wrong. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
I'm tired of waking up and hearing another case of the DUI. We just had the Madison Williams case where she was found guilty. We have another trial going on where a 6-year-old was killed. Now again, I'm hearing an 8-year-old is dead because of an alleged DUI. Something needs to be done to fix this.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
842-537-6842 KERN. The trial of Maya Hernandez got underway today for the first day of opening statements on Friday, late Friday. And I don't think we reported it Friday, but they impaneled a jury. And now this thing is going to get going. I think the DA's office has overcharged this woman. They're trying to get her on second-degree murder, along with involuntary manslaughter and child cruelty. I think they'll come back guilty because she's guilty. There's no question about this. If you're not familiar with the story, which I find hard to believe, she was from Visalia and came here really right down the road from us on Real Road to get her lips filled. It's the 21st century, and all these women, I was going to make it racial because, sisters ain't getting no lip fillers. They got sukulas naturally. Sukulas is what I call lips. And all these women want to look like ducks. They all want these protruded. I don't know what has instigated this. I don't know who told them that was more attractive than just natural lips. I mean, I as an African American, and maybe that's not fair. Maybe most men like a woman with full lips. I don't know. But it's better than the bird lips. Like some white folks have like literally no lips. You know what I'm saying? But she was getting a lip filler done and left her 2-year-old and her 1-year-old in the car for hours. It should have taken 15 to 20 minutes, but according to some of the reporting from KGT, it was a busy day and it was taking hours.
And in fact, according again to KGT, all this is what I'm telling you is according to the KGT reporting I heard today, that they some folks testified that it was taking hours. It was just a busy day in this lip filler business, and there were other people that had their children in there. And in fact, she was told she could bring her children in and opted not to. She left her car with the air conditioning running, but on these 21st century cars, if there's no activity for a period of time, the car automatically shuts off. And again, according to KGT, they showed pictures of both the kids, the surviving boy, the 2-year-old who survived, according to physicians, because he was older and his system was stronger than the 1-year-old's. He was red as could be and was profusely sweating. The boy that died, Emilio Gutierrez, they're reporting that he was blue, that his tongue was blue, that his hands and feet were blue. And I believe that child's name is Connor Dorr, was the reporter that did the live shot. Anyway, he said it was as if they had painted, and this is a good description. He said the blueness on the boy's skin looked like it had been painted on, which means that he had been dead for a while, and he had been dehydrated for a while. Now the DA's office is trying to get second-degree murder and put her in jail for life. She's 20 years old. I just don't think they're going to give her second-degree murder. This was an idiotic thing, but it was not intentional. As stupid as it was, as ridiculously stupid as it was. But can you say at the same time that we all know that a 20-year-old can't even drink? A 20-year-old or a 21-year-old can't even rent a car? So it's almost natural that a child, and I'm sorry, I considered that person a child at that age, would make ridiculously stupid decisions. Now, that doesn't get her off the hook. She'll be found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, and she should be. And she'll also be found guilty of child cruelty, which she should be. But second-degree murder? She didn't want the boy to die. And I think that has to be the litmus test for the jury. Was she trying to just get rid of her kids? No. She just made an off-the-chart, ridiculously stupid, careless, non-thinking decision. But I just don't believe it was on purpose. I don't think she woke up this morning and said, I could get rid of one of my kids. I could just lock them up in the car while I get my lips filled. Because we know that's not the case, because we know she didn't know it was going to take hours. This is a procedure that should have taken 15 to 20 minutes, according to the reporting that I saw this morning. But it was an extremely busy day at that certain business. The fact that she had the opportunity to bring the children into the store is going to destroy her. That's why I say she will be found guilty. There's no question about that. But I think the DA's office is overstretched in trying to get second-degree murder. And I don't think she'll be found guilty on that. We'll see what happens. This thing shouldn't take that long. I wouldn't think. There aren't that many witnesses. They'll bring in some folks, I assume, that worked at the business. They'll bring in people that were in the lobby with her. And I doubt very seriously, obviously, if she will testify. But it's just a very, very sad case. It really, really is. And unfortunately, decisions have ramifications. It's one of the first things you should teach a child, your grandchild or your child. That's what life is all about. It really is when you boil it down. It's about decision making. Are you going to embrace education and put yourself in a position to be a professional? Are you going to get married and have a family and be true to that family? Life is all about decisions. And what the metro, and I'm being the master of the obvious and telling you things I probably shouldn't because you're well aware, but that's what the maturation process is all about. And that's why I just don't think, and this is again being the master of the obvious, people that age be having children. And I've talked about this before. I think there should be parenting classes that are mandatory. I think there should be marriage classes that are mandatory. You know, so many people are in love with love as opposed to the true idea of being with somebody for the rest of your life and forming a cohesive family that can stay together. They're just in love with love. And this idea that we're going to run into this lifelong relationship without knowing the pitfalls. You know, Michelle Obama, and I'm not a fan any longer, I used to be, but they jumped on her and said that there's problems with her marriage with the former president because she said marriage is hard. There are times when I don't like him. I thought that was really candid, and it's incredibly true. Relationships are difficult. Who knows better than Mr. Failure, Ralph Bailey? And the one thing that I am proud about decisions that I've made in my life is that I was smart enough. I have never, ever, ever come close to marriage. I have never asked anyone to marry me. I've talked about it with 2 different people. And one situation didn't work out, and the other situation, her family did an intervention and told her she had to stay with her ex-husband, at least until her kids graduated from high school. But I'm proud of my self-awareness. In other words, deep down, I think I knew I'd screw it up. I'd screw it up and I'd be living in a studio apartment in Oildale because I'd have to give her child support and alimony and blah, 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 blah. Although probably any person I married probably be giving me alimony because they're probably making more money than I did, particularly when I was younger. But I truly believe that. I think there should be marriage classes, nothing huge, 20 hours of marriage counseling before you get married, and maybe 40 hours of parental classes that are mandatory. Now, how do you make something like that mandatory? Well, you can't. You can't. But I truly believe that. I think these young kids go into this thing thinking this will be wonderful. I'll have children and I'll love them and blah, 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 blah. And then the next thing you know, they're in a pool or they've set themselves on fire. You've done something stupid because you don't realize at that young of age, you've got to keep an eye on this child 24/7. You can't let them out of your sight. And there's just certain things that you have to learn that these kids don't know. And we know for a fact that your brain hasn't evolved until you're like 25. And yet we see these teenagers and these young people having kids and they don't have the knowledge or the responsibility, the maturation to get it done. And I think that is partly older generation's faults. I really do. Because in the 20th century, and if you go further back, it was common. My parents had me at the age of 20. It was common in the middle of the 20th century and the later part of the 20th century to have kids early. In fact, they encouraged you to have kids early so that you could see them grow. So you'd be like 40 when they're graduating from college and high school and getting married, as opposed to being 60. But I just think that the DA's office has overextended and they're not going to get second-degree murder. She didn't want those kids dead. She's just stupid, enormously stupid. And that's why you get involuntary manslaughter and child cruelty. But murder, not going to happen. Not in my opinion. We'll see. We'll see. We'll know in about a week or two, I'm guessing. I can't see this thing taking more than 2 weeks.
We will certainly discuss that at some point with Teresa Golden. We'll also talk about our lead story of the day, the fact that the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, will not hear Cathy Miller and Tastries Bakery's appeal. They weren't here locally. That was overturned. They and her pro bono law firm took it to the California Supreme Court. They denied looking at it. We reported exclusively another Bailey breakthrough that they were going to take it to the Supreme Court. We had that exclusively. And I thought I had an exclusive at about 7:30 this morning, but the law firm released the information to all of the media. And I thought we were going to have Cathy Miller tomorrow, but her law firm has told her not to do any interviews because she said yes. And then later in the day, in the morning, contacted me again and said, I can't do it. I don't know why, but again, we'll talk about that with Teresa Golder as well. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. The Charlie Kirk Show at the top of the hour. And again, tomorrow, Teresa Golder and whatever else occurs before 3:05 tomorrow afternoon. In the meantime, it's TRBS on a cold Monday night right here on News Talk 96.1 AM 1180 KERN, which we are, yes, still working on. We apologize, but we are working on it. We'll have it back up very soon. And we stream live at KERNradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your...
Want to bust out your promo?
Yeah. Three, two. Maya Hernandez should have the book thrown at her. Absolutely. But second-degree murder, she wasn't trying to kill her child by leaving him in the car for hours. It was just an incredibly, ridiculously stupid, young, immature mistake, but it wasn't murder. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. Well, it's a Tuesday. Teresa Golden will return live in studio. We'll talk about the Tastries Bakery situation and a whole lot more on the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I will see you at 3. Think I'm getting sick. I can start to feel it in my throat.
Stay away from me then.
And I didn't get my flu shot like a freaking idiot.
Now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-1783. That's 800-575-1783. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Shopping for that hard-to-please golfer? Give the gift that always fits. The 2026 Central Coast Golf Card. Locally, play Rio Bravo Country Club and Buena Vista Golf Course, and 9 incredible coastal courses like Paso Robles Golf Club, Avila Beach, and Rancho San Marcos. That's 11 rounds of golf for just $125. It's the perfect excuse for a Central Coast golf getaway. Get yours now at centralcoastgolfcard.com. But hurry, cards are limited. That's centralcoastgolfcard.com.
Before you hit the road for the holidays, make sure your car is ready for the journey. Kern Oil Change keeps your engine running smooth and your family safe.
With
No
a stop
appointments.
at Bento.
26.
No,
Not too high.
20.
20. Oh, okay. Still though, $12 more.
And without Bento, it's still $12, but $8 more just because and it's literally on the way.
651 Auburn Street. Kern Oil Change is open 7 days a week. Follow us on Instagram for additional savings.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon.
You get
now
a jerk,
back to the
like,
Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
She passes, and she passes. When she walks, she's like a woman, swing so cool and swing so good. And she passes each one, she passes those. Yeah.
So before we get done with the show,
Lou, sweet Lou, Ross. Yes.
Sorry to cut that off, but I did get a caller to let me know what's going on about the poker situation.
Okay, what do you got? They got Hold'em?
Apparently, they got nothing. If it's not video poker or that ultimate Texas Hold'em, there is no poker card tables down there.
Well, they just lost me as a client. I'm not going down there. I'm not going down there to play blackjack.
No, I get that, but it kind of made sense when they broke it down to me. You think about the size of those tables and how many you would have to put in versus how many slot machines that you could put in those places instead. I kind of get it.
And Vegas has limited poker tables, and I've always theorized that it's the one game where the house doesn't really win that much.
Exactly. And they don't.
It really is. I mean, the dealers get a cut of the pot, but I don't know how the house makes money on poker. I really don't. I mean, obviously, it's based on the dough that you lose, but you lose the money to other players. So it's not, if you go to Vegas now, there are only like 3, 4, like we stayed at the Aria, and one of the last times I was there, like 3 or 4 trips ago with Arie and Zucchini, and it's hard to find poker on the Strip. The Aria doesn't have it, even though I was just last night watching professional poker from the Aria. They have like a whole poker room, but it's not for the clients.
No.
There's the Golden Nugget, so I always stay there. Hell, I stay at the Strat. The Strat doesn't even have a poker table. So you gotta go. That's why I've stopped staying at the Strat, because it's a good. I thought I could walk it, and I got about halfway there and had to call an Uber. You can't walk from the Strat to Fremont Street, and the Golden Nugget is obviously downtown. And I think like the New Orleans, I think there are like 3 or 4 hotels that do poker in Vegas, and other than that, not a whole lot.
I don't think they pull in the same amount of people anymore either. Like, I don't think card games, and especially in Vegas, really pull in the same amount.
I don't know. It's when I go to the Golden Nugget, it's a wait every time. I played 3 nights in a row and had to wait. They had all the tables were filled. That's too bad. That really is. I was looking forward to playing some Hold'em, because I can't do Golden West anymore. I can't. There's been rumors. I don't know how serious it is that they're going to leave, but it's just something about going into that neighborhood. And I normally play at night, and I've told this before. I go in with $100. If I lose the 100, I'll go get one more 100 and I'll play that. I'll lose 200 max. And I kept records. I was doing well. And then I went through like a 3 or 4 straight visits where I lost $200 every time. And then one, I was like, there's no way I can lose 3. And I went to the teller one more time and lost that. So I lost like 2, and then 3. And I was like, that's $700, Ralph. Come on, man. And I just stopped. And it's just the worst feeling in the world when you walk out of there and you're in the ghetto. You know, I'm standing in the parking lot waiting for my Uber, and I see a crack hoe walking by across the street. And I told you the story the one night that I wanted to get a bottle of tequila. On my way home, I won a couple of $100, and I was going to celebrate. It was a Saturday night, and I stopped at that liquor store that's right across the street from the Golden West Casino. Well, I'll never do that again, because there were not only hoodlums hanging out outside, but even the people in the place were just, I was scared, to be honest with you. I really was. It was nothing but hoodlums, and a prostitute approached me, and it was nah. So I can't do Golden West till they move. I guess I'm headed up to Porterville. I guess Eagle Mountain, I think, I'm most certain has.
I have a text here. It says South Point Casino has about 40 to 50 tables in the back.
Where is that?
I'm not sure.
Never heard of it. But I do love playing Texas Hold'em. I really do. I like watching. Like I said, I was watching. It was from 2015, and they had Phil Ivey and Jennifer Tilly and Daniel Negreanu. It was 10 years old, but it was still. I just like to see what hands. The thing why I like watching poker is to watch what the pros play and what they won't. Because that really, to me, is the real key to poker. Your first two cards, and do you jump in to see the flop? And when because I started off really badly. I was a really bad poker player because I played things like King 3, and then I'd get the king and lose because my kicker is a 3 and their kicker is a jack. You know what I'm saying? You don't play King 3. And I was doing things like that. I was playing Jack 10 unsuited, trying to fill a straight. I was just a horrible, horrible player. But to me, that's the key, is jumping into the flop. Because you don't realize, maybe you may be playing 2-4 or 3-6, and you think, oh, it's just $3 to see the flop. And you keep doing that stupidly, that it mounts. It mounts. Let's read a text message and get the Samuel out of here.
South Point is in Vegas, by the way. It's by Mandalay Bay.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Let's see. Ralph, funny how she decided to leave Congress literally 2 days after she became eligible for a lifetime pension. She knew exactly how long to wait before she announced that she was going to retire.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. That makes sense. I mean, look at our police chiefs. They put in their 30 years, they're 50 years old, and they get the Sam Hill out. And when Greg Terry leaves next April, I think it is, we're going to have 4 living police officers that this city is paying $150, $180, maybe $200,000 for the rest of their lives. And like I said, if they had told us that when we were kids, that you can be a fireman or a cop, and if you do it young enough, you can get out when you're like 50, 55, 60, and have a pension for the rest of your life. I don't know if I'd been a cop, but I might have been a fireman. I'm a coward, so those professions don't really suit me, but good Google it, Moogly. Can you imagine getting paid your salary for the rest of your born days? I got to get out of here. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I will rap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump met with members of the farming community on Monday as he announced a $12 billion farm aid package. Mr. Trump says increasing agricultural production will lower prices at the grocery store.
Maximizing domestic farm production is a big part of how we will make America affordable again and bring down grocery prices for American families. And again, these are prices that we inherited.
See you guys. Have a nice night. Stay warm. And have a wonderful night. And I will see you tomorrow. Teresa Goldner at 3:30. Should be a good discussion about Tasty's Bakery.
If approved by regulators, the merger would put two of the world's biggest streaming services under the same ownership. Donald Trump said he'll be involved in the federal government's